Why are you entrusting our newborn baby to my sister every day? My husband's call interrupted my day. His usually calm voice was tinged with unexpected anger. Rapidly, I sought to dispel the misunderstanding. Our daughter is at home, sleeping, I assure him. Surprised, his tone shifted. Really? He exclaimed. Confusion enveloped us both as questions arose. I'll speak with my sister-in-law to uncover the truth, I resolved. I reached out to my sister-in-law, Marissa, and uncovered a startling truth. Let me introduce myself. I'm Linda, married to Bob for 3 years, just a year younger than him. Our joy was recently doubled with the arrival of our daughter Hannah. She's the epitome of cuteness, but being a first-time mom has its challenges. With my parents living far away, I didn't have the luxury of heading back home after childbirth. Since leaving the hospital, I've been navigating this new world solo during the day. I must admit, I've been getting by, largely thanks to Bob's unwavering support. Despite his long work hours, he's always there for Hannah and me, never once complaining. His gentle demeanor eases any parenting stresses I encounter. Whether it's struggling to soothe Hannah to sleep or tending to her cries in the dead of night, his presence has been a lifeline, and I'm immensely grateful for it. So you can imagine my shock when he called, his voice laced with unexpected frustration. Linda. Mom just called me. What's going on? He demanded. Confused, I replied, Your mom? What are you talking about? Why would we leave our newborn with Marissa every day? His mention of Marissa caught me off guard. She's Bob's sister, residing just a short walk away with their parents. Marissa, working from home, also takes care of her mother, making her quite flexible with her time. My husband's critique persisted. Leaving a 3-week-old baby, I couldn't fathom doing that. Marissa hasn't cared for a baby before. I get that you're tired post-birth, but you should have talked to me before entrusting her to Marissa, he expressed, his worry palpable. His distress signaled that this was no ordinary misunderstanding. Wait, I'm lost. Marissa caring for a newborn. Why did your mom call you? Why would I need your consultation? What do you mean? Leaving Hannah with Marissa? Have I been doing that? I countered, utterly bewildered. It's been nearly 2 weeks. Marissa didn't complain, not wanting to strain your relationship, but Mom couldn't stay silent, he clarified. Bob's revelation stunned me. It was a narrative I had no recollection of, with my daughter right beside me. With numerous questions swirling, I prioritized clearing the confusion. Swiftly, I assured him, our daughter's at home, asleep. She's right here with me. Bob's astonishment resurfaced. What do you mean? He inquired. I'm just as confused as you are. Honestly, I've been following the advice to keep newborns indoors, so besides medical appointments, I haven't been anywhere. I haven't even visited your family's house, and it's been a while since Marissa came over after Hannah's birth, I clarified. Then whose baby is Marissa caring for? Bob pondered aloud. I wish I knew. Why would Marissa fabricate looking after our baby? Each question seemed to spiral into another, leaving us both puzzled. As the lunch break chimes sounded through the phone, I made a decision. I need to speak with Marissa. I want to understand why she might concoct such a lie. If there's a misunderstanding and she thinks she's caring for Hannah, that's concerning. I'll also call Mom, I announced. Bob paused before expressing his regret. I'm sorry for doubting you. I was just really worried about Hannah. It's all right. You're concerned about Hannah, aren't you? Besides, when I told you she's right here, you didn't doubt me. You trusted me, I comforted him. After our call ended, I wasted no time dialing my sister-in-law's number. Marissa, do you have a moment? There's something I need to discuss, I started. Linda, I need to talk to you too, Marissa replied. Marissa and Bob are close in age, which is why she's the same age as me despite being my sister-in-law. We've always had a good relationship, even going out together when I was dating Bob. So, it puzzled me why she hadn't mentioned anything about this situation. I couldn't fathom why she would fabricate such a story. Well, now's a good time. Bob just filled me in. Marissa, what's this about you looking after Hannah? I haven't left her with anyone, I questioned, bewildered. Marissa's surprised voice followed, accompanied by the sound of a crying baby. It seemed she was indeed tending to an infant. Listening to Marissa's reaction, a realization dawned on me. Marissa wasn't fabricating anything, she genuinely believed she was caring for Hannah. To dispel her misconception, I began to explain the truth. To dispel her misconception, I began to explain the truth. Hannah's right here with me, fast asleep. I'm really baffled by all of this. But how did you end up with a baby, Marissa? And why do you think it was Hannah? I asked, seeking clarity. Marissa replied, shedding light on the situation. Last week, Dad dropped off a baby with me. He said, Linda seems overwhelmed, so you should assist her with the baby. This revelation left me dumbfounded. Then Marissa disclosed another shocking detail. I was terrified because I've never cared for a baby. I hadn't heard from you, Linda. And when I considered calling you, Dad warned, if you contact Linda, she'll just stress out. Show some consideration for your sister-in-law. I have my own responsibilities, even when I'm at home. It appeared that my father-in-law's deceit initiated this chaos, but the identity of the child Marissa was caring for remained unclear. Thinking that confronting my father-in-law directly might resolve the confusion, I inquired if he was home. Unfortunately, he's out at the moment. Lately, he returns home late in the evening, takes the child Marissa's been tending to, claiming he'll return her to Linda, then leaves again. He usually returns in about 20 to 30 minutes, Marissa explained. Frustrated by my father-in-law's manipulation involving my daughter and me, I felt compelled to address the situation head-on. I understand. I'll discuss this with Bob, but we might visit tonight, I decided before ending the call. I promptly emailed my husband, detailing what I learned from his sister. We should ask Dad directly, came the suggestion. So when Bob returned home, we made our way to my in-laws. Along the journey, Bob recounted his conversation with his mother. Mom was also quite upset to discover that the child she thought was her grandchild wasn't. That's a significant shock, isn't it? I didn't envision Hannah's first family gathering unfolding like this. It's quite a complicated situation, he elaborated. Due to her back issues, his mother hadn't met our daughter yet. I had hoped to introduce Hannah to her once she was ready to venture out after a month, but now, I found myself disheartened that our introduction had to occur amidst such turmoil. Upon reaching my in-laws' home, we found my mother-in-law and sister-in-law both appearing bewildered as we entered. Marissa spoke up. Bob, Linda, Dad mentioned he would return the child we've been caring for, but he hasn't returned yet. Understanding the situation, Bob intervened. I see, Mom. Despite the confusion, this is our daughter Hannah. With that, I brought Hannah closer to my mother-in-law. Upon laying eyes on Hannah, my mother-in-law's expression softened. She's absolutely adorable. She bears a striking resemblance to Bob when he was a baby. I'm thrilled to finally meet her, and Linda, you've done remarkably well. I'm sorry you've been entangled in all of this, she expressed with sincerity. It's all right. I'm just as perplexed as everyone else, I responded. Just as I spoke, Marissa chimed in. I'm baffled too. Who is this child I've been caring for? I don't understand why Dad would lie like this. I've been putting in so much effort, believing it was Hannah. He should consider my feelings too. Marissa's frustration mirrored my own towards our father-in-law. Attempting to lighten the mood, Bob interjected, but Marissa, you've met Hannah before. You should have noticed it's a different baby. Well, don't all babies look alike? I thought something was off. But I assumed babies' appearances change quickly. Marissa hastily defended herself. At that moment, our father-in-law returned. I'm back. Wait, why are Bob and Linda here? Our father-in-law's panic was palpable. This deception stemmed from him. The rest of us shared disapproving glances, each silently accusing him. Struggling under the tension, our father-in-law began to stutter. Oh, Linda, it's been some time. What brings you here? Did you forget something? He attempted to divert attention. Turning to Marissa, he added, Marissa, what's going on? I asked you to check for forgotten items. I seethed with anger at our father-in-law's manipulation, using mine and my daughter's names in his deceit and then shifting the blame onto Marissa. I instinctively held my daughter closer, feeling the tension radiate through the room. Both my husband and sister-in-law shared the same sentiment, their fists clenched in frustration. It was me who broke the silence, the anger evident in my voice. Dad, seriously, are you honestly saying that? This is beyond unacceptable even for you. What do you mean? My father-in-law seemed startled by the intensity of my tone. My husband and sister-in-law echoed my sentiments, demanding answers. Dad, explain yourself. Linda has never left Hannah with anyone. Why would you fabricate such a lie? There must be a reason for someone to care for a stranger's newborn, right? That's correct. You manipulated me into caring for a child. Who is this baby? I'm terrified, even if it's my nephew's, let alone a stranger's. I won't tolerate it anymore, Marissa interjected with rapid-fire conviction. My father-in-law was speechless, while the three of us continued to glare at him, demanding the truth. However, my mother-in-law's reaction was different. She turned pale, murmuring, "No, it can't be. You're not still involved with her?" Her words left my husband, sister-in-law, and me stunned. My father-in-law began to sweat, feigning innocence. What? What are you talking about?" he stuttered, attempting to deflect. But my typically calm husband had reached his limit. "Dad, enough with the act. You've been playing dumb all along. Do you think you can deceive us? We know you've been lying about everything. Just come clean." "Wait, Bob, please calm down." I attempted to intervene, but my husband persisted. "Dad, you've been manipulating Linda and Hannah to cover up your deceit, and you owe Marissa an apology. Caring for a newborn is a monumental responsibility, even if it's your own child. Consider how overwhelming it must have been for Marissa, who has never experienced parenthood before." Once he started, my husband couldn't halt his tirade. Despite whatever excuses our father-in-law might conjure, my husband remained steadfast. Perhaps realizing he couldn't evade the truth any longer, my father-in-law spoke softly, and then he confessed to the unbelievable truth. "That child is mine." At his admission, my husband's momentum dissipated, his mouth hanging agape in disbelief. Marissa and I were equally stunned into silence. It was my mother-in-law who shattered the quiet. Her voice quivered, tears brimming in her eyes. "I knew it. You're still involved with her. I was foolish to forgive you before." "Involved with her?" my husband queried, puzzled. In response, our father-in-law's complexion paled even further. Ignoring him, my mother-in-law continued, "He had an affair. It happened around the time you two were getting married, about 3 years ago. He promised me he'd never do it again, and I forgave him. But now, that's why I thought Hannah bore a resemblance to Bob. She's his flesh and blood after all. I thought she was my true grandchild." Unable to contain her emotions any longer, my mother-in-law broke into tears. Witnessing her distress only fueled my anger towards my father-in-law. My husband regained his composure, unleashing his wrath upon our father-in-law. "You're despicable, Dad. You not only deceived us but betrayed Mom twice. How could you stoop so low? I can't fathom that someone like you is our father." Bob's outburst was followed by Marissa's incredulous response. "What do you mean by my child? Are you joking? You had a child with your mistress and left it with me? I can't believe this. How could you do something so despicable? I never want to see your face again." Despite the scathing remarks from his own children, our father-in-law merely chuckled and remarked, "Calm down. There's nothing we can do about what's already happened. The mistress didn't want to marry me or anything like that. She just didn't have any money, so she had to work. In the meantime, I had to take care of the child." I couldn't bear witnessing my father-in-law's callousness. "Enough," I interjected, my voice trembling with anger. "This isn't a laughing matter. A life has been brought into this world. Do you grasp the gravity of that at your age?" My father-in-law seemed taken aback, losing his balance and falling onto the ground. However, instead of offering assistance, Bob and Marissa hurled insults. "You worthless old man, you're no longer our father. I can't even stand to look at you." "Get out of our sight," they exclaimed. Even faced with their fury, my father-in-law attempted to downplay the situation, saying, "Don't say such things." My lips tensed as I stared daggers at my father-in-law. "I no longer have the patience to tolerate someone like you. Let's get divorced," I declared firmly. My father-in-law's smile vanished, his face contorting with wrinkles as he became serious. "But didn't you forgive me last time?" he pleaded. However, his attempt at manipulation was futile. "Yes, I forgave you for your infidelity, but I won't tolerate your disrespect any longer," I retorted. "If having you out of our lives brings peace to our home, then so be it. And as for my survival, I'll manage just fine without you," I added. As my father-in-law clung to my mother-in-law's feet, I watched him with disdain. Bob and Marissa mirrored my sentiments, their gazes cold and unwavering. It was evident that everyone in the room had reached their limit with my father-in-law. Marissa erupted in anger. I'll take care of Mom, so we'll be fine without you. But how do you plan to live? You've always relied on Mom for everything from cooking to laundry. Marissa's words visibly rattled my father-in-law. He turned to my mother-in-law with pleading eyes. You wouldn't leave me, would you? We spent decades together. You can't imagine life without me, can you? However, his hopes were swiftly dashed as my mother-in-law shook off his clinging arm. Stop kidding yourself. How much do you need to degrade people to feel satisfied? Who would want to stay with a cheater like you? I'm filing for divorce right now. If you're so fond of her, why don't you go be with your mistress? My mother-in-law snapped, her voice firm and resolute. What? Wait, let's talk. We can fix this. That woman meant nothing to me. You're the only one I love. My father-in-law pleaded, clutching onto my mother-in-law once more, but he was met with another wave of Marissa's fury. Talking to someone who refuses to acknowledge their mistakes is pointless. We're leaving this place soon, and Mom is coming with us. Until we're gone, stay away from home, Dad. I never want to see you again. Now get out. Marissa demanded, attempting to forcefully escort my father-in-law out. When he refused to budge, Bob had to physically drag him away. Please wait. Give me another chance, just one more. My father-in-law pleaded until the very end, but his pleas fell on deaf ears as nobody paid him any attention. As Marissa had foreseen, my father-in-law's life spiraled into chaos. Struggling to manage even the simplest tasks, he found himself unable to tolerate the growing clutter and filth in his home. Desperate for assistance, he turned to his mistress, only to be met with rejection at her doorstep. It appeared she had no intention of marrying him either. With no one left to care for the children, his mistress was unable to work, leading to financial strain. She began pressing my father-in-law for alimony, even resorting to legal action to secure child support. Meanwhile, my sister-in-law and mother-in-law relocated to an apartment not far from ours. As over a month had passed since Hannah's birth, I started visiting them more frequently, accompanied by Hannah. I maintained my amicable relationship with Marissa, acting as if nothing had changed, and my bond with my mother-in-law remained strong. Moving forward, I'm determined to raise my daughter to the best of my abilities, with the support of my husband, sister-in-law, and mother-in-law by my side.
My phone buzzed at 3:17 a.m. with a notification I'd never seen before. Shadow view alert. Subject has entered master bedroom. Heart rate elevated. I stared at the screen, my fingers trembling as I swiped to unlock it. More notifications flooded in, each one more invasive than the last. I'm Gabriella, and until tonight, I thought I knew what fear felt like. The space beside me in bed was empty, sheets cold. Michael's absence felt different this time, heavier somehow. The notification log showed my movements from the entire day. Every classroom I'd taught in, my lunch break in the teacher's lounge, even my stop at the grocery store. Each entry included precise timestamps, location coordinates, and bizarrely detailed physiological data. What the hell is this? I whispered, scrolling through hundreds of entries. My heart pounded against my ribs as I noticed Michael's name listed as the primary account holder. Footsteps creaked on the stairs. I quickly locked my phone and slid it under my pillow, forcing my breathing to steady. The bedroom door opened, and Michael's silhouette appeared. "You're up late," he said, his voice carrying that practiced casualness I'd started noticing lately. "Couldn't sleep." I watched him move through the darkness, noting how he checked his own phone before setting it face down on the nightstand. "Everything okay at work?" "Just the usual crisis." He slipped under the covers, keeping to his side. The Singapore team needed emergency consultation. I felt the lie settle between us like a physical thing. The notification log had shown his location as Riverside Park just 20 minutes ago. "Singapore," I repeated. "Must be exhausting, all these late nights. Someone has to do it." He turned away from me. "Try to get some sleep, Gabs. You have early classes tomorrow." My phone vibrated again under my pillow. I waited until Michael's breathing deepened before checking it. Shadow view alert. Subject's voice patterns indicate deception during recent conversation. My throat tightened. I opened my laptop as quietly as possible, searching for information about Shadow view. Nothing came up, no company website, no App Store listing, no user forums. It was as if the software didn't exist. I texted Megan, my best friend since college and an IT security specialist. Need your help, emergency, call me before work. The response came immediately. You're scaring me, G. Give me 5. I slipped out of bed and locked myself in the ensuite bathroom, turning on the shower to mask my voice. When Megan called, I described the notifications, the tracking, Michael's lies. Jesus Christ, she breathed. This is serious spyware, Gab. Military-grade stuff. You can't let on that you know about it. What do I do? Don't touch anything yet. I need to see what we're dealing with. Can you meet me at lunch? Yeah, The bathroom door handle jiggled. Gabs? Michael's voice. Everything okay? Fine, I called back, my voice steadier than I felt. Just needed a shower. Couldn't sleep. At 3 a.m, I ended the call, flushing the toilet and running the tap. When I opened the door, Michael stood there, backlit by the bedroom lamp. For a moment, I saw something unfamiliar cross his face. Calculation, maybe. Or concern. You've been acting strange lately, he said softly. I forced a smile. Says the man who's been in Riverside Park instead of on calls with Singapore. His expression didn't change, but his eyes hardened. We stood there, measuring each other in the half-light, 16 years of marriage suddenly feeling like a house of cards. I think we need to talk, he said finally. My phone buzzed again in my hand. I glanced down before I could stop myself. Shadow view alert. Secondary subject has accessed primary monitoring interface. Initiating countermeasures. The screen went black. When I looked up, Michael was watching me with an expression I'd never seen before, and never want to see again. The next morning's breakfast felt like a minefield. Emily sat hunched over her cereal, scrolling through her phone while Michael typed furiously on his laptop. Neither of them noticed how my hands shook as I poured coffee. Dad, can you sign my permission slip for the coding camp? Emily's voice carried an edge I'd never heard before. It's due today. Michael barely glanced up. Just leave it on my desk. I'll look at it later. You said that 3 days ago. Emily's fingers tightened around her spoon. The deadline's today. I said I'll handle it. His tone made both Emily and me flinch. I watched our daughter's face close off, that familiar teenage mask sliding into place. But there was something else there, a flicker of knowledge, maybe fear. She caught me watching and quickly looked away. I'll sign it, I said, reaching for the paper. Michael's head snapped up. I've got it, Gabriella. The way he said my name, like a warning, made my skin crawl. I remembered last night's confrontation, how he'd watched me with those cold eyes before retreating to his home office without another word. My phone buzzed. Another shadow view notification. Subject's cortisol levels, indicating heightened stress. Recommend monitoring for unstable behavior. Emily stood abruptly. I'm going to be late. I'll drive you, I said, grabbing my keys before Michael could object. In the car, Emily stayed silent until we were 3 blocks away. Then, Mom, something's wrong with my phone. My grip tightened on the steering wheel. What do you mean? It's doing weird things. Like, it knows stuff it shouldn't know. She pulled out her device, showing me a screen full of notifications. See? It's tracking my sleep patterns, my conversations, even my mood based on my typing speed. Dad says it's just a new security feature from his company, but I pulled into an empty parking lot, killing the engine. Emily, when did this start? A few weeks ago, after I overheard. She stopped, chewing her lip. Overheard what? Dad on the phone with someone named Olivia. They were talking about implementation phases and test subjects. Mom, he sounded different, not like himself. The name hit me like a physical blow. Olivia. I'd seen it in Michael's emails before, always dismissed as just another colleague. There's something else, Emily continued, her voice dropping. Last night I tried to hack into the app's code, just to see what it was doing. But as soon as I started, my laptop crashed. When it rebooted, all my files were encrypted. And there was a message, First warning. My phone buzzed again. Warning. Subjects discussing restricted information. Initiating Protocol 7A. Emily's phone chimed simultaneously. Her face went pale. Mom. I looked at her screen. A single message displayed. Your father knows best. Trust the process. We need to get to school, I said, starting the car. Act normal. Don't let him know we talked about this. But Mom, trust me, Emily, I'm going to fix this. At the school entrance, she hesitated before getting out. Be careful, Mom. I think he's watching all of us. I waited until she disappeared inside before calling Megan. Change of plans, meet me now, and leave your phone behind. Already on my way, she replied. Gabriella, I did some digging last night. This goes way deeper than spyware. Your husband's company. They're not just tracking people, they're controlling them. What do you mean? The app doesn't just monitor, it manipulates, changes text messages, alters photos, creates false records. It's like a digital puppet master, and Michael's one of the puppeteers. My phone lit up with a new notification. Warning, unauthorized contact detected, implementing corrective measures. The car's engine suddenly died. The doors locked themselves. And on my screen, a new message appeared. Time to come home, Gabriella. We need to talk about your behavior. I abandoned my car in the school parking lot and took Megan's advice. Ditched my phone, borrowed cash from the school secretary, and caught a bus downtown. The encrypted audio files I'd discovered on my phone that morning burned in my mind. I'd only managed to decrypt one before everything went dark. Michael's voice, intimate and warm, speaking to someone named Olivia about phase 2 of the implementation. The coffee shop where I met Megan was crowded enough to hide us, but quiet enough to talk. She slid a burner phone across the table. They can't track this one, she said, then pushed a laptop toward me. Watch this. Security footage played on screen. Michael entering a high-rise building downtown at midnight, followed by a tall woman in a red dress. The timestamp showed last Thursday when he'd claimed to be in Chicago. That's Olivia Chen, Megan said, Senior VP of Neural Technologies at Michael's company. They've been working on something called Project Shadow for the past year. Neural Technologies? My coffee went cold in my hands. What exactly does she do? Official answer, brain-computer interfaces for medical applications. Unofficial? Megan lowered her voice. They're developing ways to manipulate digital reality, change what people see, hear, even remember. A waiter approached. We fell silent until he passed. The spyware on your phone, that's just the surface, Megan continued. They're testing something bigger, something that can alter. The cafe's TV suddenly switched from sports to security footage of me and Megan sitting right there. Text scrolled across the bottom. Subject located, intervention team en route. We need to move. Megan grabbed her laptop. Now. We hurried toward the back exit, but a familiar voice stopped me cold. Leaving so soon? Olivia Chen stood blocking our path, elegant in a tailored suit, her smile sharp as broken glass. Michael appeared beside her, his hand resting possessively on her lower back. Gabriella, he said, you're making this much harder than it needs to be. Am I? My voice shook with rage. Like how you made our marriage harder by sleeping with her. This isn't about us. Olivia stepped forward. It's about something much bigger. We're reshaping reality itself, making a better world. By spying on your own daughter, the words tasted like acid. By manipulating people's lives. By controlling the chaos, Michael countered. Think about it, Gabs. No more lies, no more uncertainty. Complete digital oversight of every interaction, every relationship. Pure truth. That's not truth, Megan spat. That's tyranny. Olivia's smile widened. Speaking of truth, Gabriella, did you know your friend here has been feeding information about you to us for months? My head snapped toward Megan. She wouldn't meet my eyes. I had to, she whispered. They have my sister. The betrayal hit like a physical blow. While I reeled, Michael moved closer, his voice softening to that familiar tone that used to mean safety. Come home, he said. Help us perfect this. Think of the good we could do. No more deception, no more betrayal. Everyone connected, everyone accountable. Everyone controlled, I corrected. Like you're controlling Emily? Something flickered in his eyes. Doubt, maybe guilt. Olivia noticed too. Her hand tightened on his arm. Emily's young, she said smoothly. She needs guidance, structure, just like you do. My phone, the one I'd supposedly abandoned, suddenly appeared in her hand, screen glowing. Audio played, my voice, twisted and wrong, confessing to crimes I'd never committed. Digital reality is whatever we say it is, Olivia explained. Remember that when you're deciding whose side you're on. I looked at Michael, searching for any trace of the man I'd married. What happened to you? I evolved, he said. The question is, will you? The cafe's lights flickered. Every screen, phones, laptops, the TV, displayed the same message. Choose now. I thought of Emily, of her encrypted files and frightened eyes, of 16 years of marriage unraveling into something monstrous, of truth warping like a reflection in broken mirror. I made my choice. Go to hell, I said, and threw my scalding coffee in Olivia's face. The chaos that followed gave me just enough time to run, leaving everything behind except one certainty. This wasn't about saving my marriage anymore. It was about saving my daughter from whatever dystopia they were building, one manipulated truth at a time. The motel room smelled like old cigarettes and desperation. I'd been here 3 days, paying cash, using the name Anna Walsh. The burner phone Megan gave me, before her betrayal, sat silent on the nightstand, my only connection to the world I'd left behind. A knock at the door made me freeze. 3 quick taps, pause, 2 more. Our signal. Emily slipped inside, backpack clutched to her chest. Dad's going crazy looking for you. He's got the police saying you're mentally unstable, that you attacked Olivia and kidnapped me last week. But you've been at school, I said, checking the parking lot through a gap in the curtains. Exactly. The security footage showing me there. It's gone. Replaced with video of you dragging me into a car. She pulled out her laptop. Look. The news website showed grainy footage of me forcing a struggling Emily into a sedan. It looked real. It looked damning. They're rewriting history, Emily whispered. And it's not just this. My friends are getting texts from my number saying scary things. Teachers are receiving emails in your name, threatening them. My hands clenched. What about the coding camp files, the ones you encrypted? Gone. But... She hesitated, then pulled something from her backpack, a small silver USB drive. I found this in Dad's office. It's got financial records, emails between him and Olivia, going back 3 years. Mom, they're not just manipulating social media and security cameras. They're changing bank statements, medical records, court documents. A new knock at the door, different pattern. Emily's eyes widened in fear. Gabriella? A man's voice, unfamiliar. I'm Alex. Megan sent me before. Everything. We need to talk. I grabbed Emily's hand, moving toward the bathroom's window, but she pulled back. Wait, she whispered. I vetted him. He's clean, former cop, specializes in tech crimes. And he's not in any of Dad's files. My daughter becoming an investigator while I was hiding in cheap motels. The pride hurt almost as much as the fear. I opened the door. Alex was older than I expected, with tired eyes and a detective's watchful stance. He took in the room, Emily, me, then held up his phone. They're moving faster than we thought, he said. Your husband just filed for emergency custody, claims you're having a psychotic break, that you've been stalking him and Olivia for months. They've got evidence, therapist reports, prescriptions, police statements. All fake, all perfect. How long? I asked. Before they find you. Days, maybe hours. They're burning your whole life down, Gabriella. Job, reputation, relationships, all of it. Emily's laptop chimed. She went pale reading the screen. Mom. She turned it toward me. They're in my school records now. Changing grades, attendance, everything. It's like they're erasing me too. Alex moved to the window. We need to go. Oh, now, I've got a safe house. No. The word came out harder than I intended. No more running, no more hiding. I took the USB drive from Emily. We've got proof, real proof. They'll just alter it, Alex said. Make it look fake. Not if we make it public first. Not if we show everyone how deep this goes. I looked at Emily. Can you crack their encryption? Get into the Shadow View network. She straightened, suddenly looking older than 16. With help, I know some people, hackers who hate this kind of corporate surveillance. But Mom, if we do this, I know, no going back. Alex checked his phone again. Whatever you're planning, make it fast. Your husband just called an emergency press conference for tomorrow morning. Emily's fingers flew across her keyboard. He's going to use it to destroy you completely, make you look like a dangerous stalker who needs to be locked up. I thought of Michael's words in the cafe. Digital reality is whatever we say it is. But he'd forgotten something crucial. Reality itself still existed underneath all their manipulations, and I was done letting them control the narrative. Then we'll crash his press conference, I said. Show everyone exactly who's really dangerous. I turned to Alex. How good are you at creating a scene? He smiled for the first time. Former cop, remember? I'm excellent at scenes. Emily looked up from her laptop, her expression a mirror of my own determination. I've made contact. My hacker friends are ready. We can shut down their whole network. Good, I said, feeling the weight of the USB drive in my hand. Because tomorrow we're going to show the world what digital truth really looks like. The corporate headquarters loomed above us, all glass and steel reaching into the morning sky. Emily's hacker friends had come through. We had access to the building's security network, but only for 20 minutes. Just enough time to infiltrate Michael's press conference and expose everything. Mom! Emily grabbed my arm as we crossed the lobby. There's something else on the drive. Something about Megan's sister. Alex tensed beside us. Now's not the time. It's encrypted differently, Emily continued, her voice shaking. But I recognize the file structure. It's the same as the blackmail folders they keep on their targets. The elevator doors closed behind us. Level 42, where Michael would be presenting his carefully crafted lies to the media. They're not just watching people, Emily whispered. They're collecting leverage on everyone. The implications hit me like a physical blow. How many lives had they already destroyed? How many more would they ruin if we failed? Alex checked his watch. 15 minutes until the conference. Security's rotating shifts now. The elevator stopped at level 30. A woman in a sharp suit entered. Her perfume familiar. My heart stopped. Olivia, I said. She smiled, but her eyes were cold. I wondered when you'd show up. Michael's been looking forward to it. I bet he has. I shifted, putting myself between her and Emily, planning to destroy my reputation in front of the whole city. Oh, that's already done. She held up her phone. Right now, every major news outlet is receiving evidence of your history of mental instability, your stalking, your violent tendencies. All fake. Does it matter? Digital truth, remember? She glanced at Emily. Though I am surprised you'd drag your daughter into this, especially given what's on that drive she stole. Emily stiffened. What are you talking about? Ask your mother about the real reason she became a teacher, about what happened at her last school. Olivia's smile widened, or should I say, what she made happen. The elevator stopped again. Level 40. You're lying, I said, but doubt crept in. How deep did their manipulation go? How far back could they change the past? Are we? Olivia stepped closer. Check the drive. Section 7. File marked Preston Academy. But hurry, you've only got about 10 minutes before security finds your little hacker friends. The doors opened. Olivia stepped out, then turned back. Oh, and Gabriella? Michael wanted me to tell you. Emily's acceptance letter to MIT. We wrote that too. Every achievement, every success. We gave her those. Makes you wonder what's real, doesn't it? The doors closed on Emily's shocked face. She's lying, Alex said quickly. They're trying to get in your head. But Emily was already pulling out her laptop, fingers flying across the keys. "Mom, there's a file. It's opening." "We don't have time," I said, but my voice sounded hollow. "The press conference." Got it." Emily's face went pale. "Mom, what did you do?" The elevator stopped at level 42. Through the glass walls, I could see the media setting up, Michael at the podium doing sound checks. Everything we'd planned, all our evidence, waiting to be revealed. But Emily's eyes held something worse than Olivia's accusations. Doubt. "We can't trust anything they show us," I said, reaching for her laptop. "They manipulate everything, remember?" She pulled away. "This isn't manipulated. These are original files from before Shadowview existed, about why you really left teaching in Boston." The conference room doors were right there. All our planning, our chance to expose everything, slipping away with each second. "Emily, please." I held out my hand. "Trust me." She looked at the laptop, then at me. "Did you?" Alex checked his watch. 2 minutes. Through the glass, I saw Michael spot us. His smile was my own reflection, twisted and wrong. He knew. He'd always known we'd come, and he'd prepared the perfect trap, not with security or police, but with truth. The one weapon I thought I had against him. "Mom," Emily's voice cracked, "what really happened at Preston Academy?" The conference room doors opened. Cameras turned toward us, and I had to choose, expose Michael's lies or face my own. The truth about Preston Academy spilled across every screen in the conference room. Not Michael's manipulated version, but the real story, my story. Security footage showed me confronting the school principal about covering up student abuse, threatening to expose everything. Then the mysterious fire in the administrative office, destroying evidence that could have saved those kids. "Mom," Emily's voice cracked as she stared at the footage. "You did this?" Michael's smile grew wider at the podium. "Ladies and gentlemen of the press, this is exactly what I've been trying to protect our daughter from. A mother who burns down schools when she doesn't get her way." "They were hurting children," I said, but my voice sounded hollow even to me. "The principal, he was destroying evidence." "So you destroyed everything?" Emily stepped away from me. "Like you're trying to destroy Dad?" Alex moved between us and the cameras. "We need to go, now." But Michael wasn't finished. "What my wife fails to mention is that her actions didn't save anyone. The abuse continued. The only thing that burned was the truth." He turned to Emily. "Just like she's burning your future now." Olivia appeared beside him, holding up her phone. "Speaking of futures, perhaps we should show everyone what else is on that drive." The real reason behind Emily's perfect grades, her MIT acceptance. Emily's face went pale. "What is she talking about?" "Don't listen to them," I pleaded. "They manipulate everything." "Except we didn't manipulate this." Michael pressed a button, and new footage appeared. Me, in the school's computer lab late at night, changing Emily's grades, fabricating recommendation letters, building a false future for my daughter. "No." Emily's hand shook as she opened her laptop. "That's not... I earned those grades, I did the work." "Did you?" Olivia's voice was silk over steel. "Check your own files, Emily. The ones you encrypted yourself. Compare them to what the school has on record." I watched my daughter's world crumble as she saw the truth. Every achievement she'd been proud of, tainted by my desperate need to protect her, to ensure she had opportunities I never had. "Why?" She wouldn't look at me. "Why would you do this?" "Because she doesn't trust anyone else to take care of you," Michael said softly. "Not even you." Security guards appeared at every exit. Alex tensed, reaching for something under his jacket. "Don't," I whispered. "It's over." "Is it?" Michael's voice carried across the silent room. "Or is this where you burn everything down? Again, Gabriella. Try to destroy the evidence of what you've done." Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. But all I could see was Emily's face as she backed away from me, toward Michael and Olivia. "Emily, please." I took a step forward. "Everything I did was to protect me." Her laugh was bitter, familiar. My laugh. By lying, by making me believe I was something I'm not. You are exactly who you think you are, I said desperately. Your mind, your talent, is real, Michael finished, which is why we're offering Emily a choice. Stay with your mother, who manipulates your life from the shadows, or come with us. Learn to use your actual abilities at our tech division. No more lies, no more false achievements. Emily looked at her laptop, then at me. I saw the decision in her eyes before she spoke. I'm sorry, Mom. She closed the laptop, but I need to know what's real. She walked across the room, each step widening the gulf between us. Olivia put an arm around her shoulders, victorious. Take her. Michael nodded to the security guards. My wife needs help, not an audience. As they approached, I realized the truth. I'd come to expose Michael's lies, but my own had destroyed everything. Preston Academy, Emily's future, our family, all burned by my need to control, to protect, to force reality into the shape I thought it should be. Wait, Emily said suddenly, turning back. I want to know one thing. That night, when the school burned, did you really think you were helping? I met her eyes across the room, saw the desperate need to understand, to find something real in all the lies. I thought I could fix everything, I whispered. I'm still trying to fix everything. She nodded once, then let Olivia lead her away. The last thing I saw before security reached me was Michael's smile, not triumphant now, but almost sad. Some things, he said softly, can't be fixed, Gabriella. Only controlled. The holding cell was cold, but the laptop Alex smuggled in burned hot against my legs. 3 hours since they'd arrested me. 2 since Emily had texted, something's wrong, meet at Riverside Park, midnight. I knew it was a trap. But when your daughter calls, you answer. The laptop pinged. Emily's hacker friends had come through. Security footage from Michael's company played across the screen, showing what really happened at that press conference. Olivia forcing Emily into a car. Michael's smile slipping when the cameras turned away. And something else. Fragments of code revealing Shadowview's true purpose. It wasn't just surveillance. It was reconstruction. Total digital control of reality itself. Alex appeared at my cell door. Ready? The lock clicked open. No alarms, no guards. Emily's friends were good. They're waiting at the park. He said to Sam. But Gabriella, Emily's last message came from inside their main server room. My heart stopped. She's trying to shut it down. Riverside Park was shadow and silence when we arrived. Olivia stood by the water, Emily's laptop open in her hands. No Michael, no Emily. Quite the daughter you've raised, Olivia said without turning. Broke through our best encryption in hours. Found things even we'd forgotten were there. Where is she? Learning. Olivia finally faced me. About power, control, the things her father and I built Shadowview to perfect. She smiled. The things you tried to teach her, in your own clumsy way. By manipulating people's lives. By directing them, like you directed those grade changes, those college recommendations. Her smile widened. That fire at Preston Academy. I was trying to protect you. Everyone says that. She closed the laptop. Michael said it when we started this project. Control to protect, manipulation to save. But you know what we really discovered? She stepped closer. People want to be controlled, need it, even Emily. A twig snapped behind me. Michael emerged from the shadows, leading Emily. Her hands flew across a tablet, eyes fever bright. Show her, Michael said softly. Emily turned the tablet toward me. Lines of code scrolled past, but I recognized the pattern, the same code I'd used to change her grades. You taught me well, Mom. Emily's voice was strange, distant. About control, about making reality what we want it to be. Emily, whatever they're promising you, they're not promising anything. She looked up and I saw something terrible in her eyes, understanding. They're showing me what I already am, what you made me. What we all are, Olivia added, architects of truth. And now, thanks to Emily's improvements to Shadowview, we can rewrite everything, not just records or surveillance, but memory itself. Digital consciousness, perfectly controlled. Alex tensed beside me, reaching for his gun, but Emily was faster. The tablet flashed, and Alex froze, eyes going blank. Neural interface, Michael explained proudly. Emily's innovation, direct digital control of human consciousness. I watched my daughter smile, my smile twisted into something unrecognizable. Want to see how it works, Mom? How reality bends when you have real control. The air itself seemed to ripple. Trees shifted, shadows danced. I felt something pressing against my mind, trying to rewrite my thoughts. But in that moment, I saw something else. A flash of fear in Emily's eyes, a tremor in her hands. You're right, I said quietly. I taught you about control, but I never taught you about choice. I pulled out the laptop, opened the files we'd found. Look at what they're really doing, Emily. Not protecting, not directing, erasing. Every choice, every free thought, gone. Her tablet wavered. They're helping people. Like I helped you? By taking away your real achievements. I stepped forward. I was wrong, Emily. About Preston Academy. About your grades. About everything. Control isn't protection. It's prison. The park flickered again, reality bending. But this time, I saw Emily's fingers moving differently on the tablet. Not controlling. Destroying. Dad? Her voice shook. What's really in the Shadowview core code? Michael lunged for the tablet, but it was too late. Emily had seen the truth, and she was her mother's daughter after all. The night exploded in cascading waves of broken code, as every digital lie we'd all built came crashing down around us. The police lights painted Riverside Park in alternating red and blue as they led Michael and Olivia away. Emily sat on a bench, her tablet dark and silent, staring at the fractured remains of Shadowview's servers scattered across her screen. All those people they controlled, she whispered as I sat beside her. Their memories, their lives. What happens to them now? They get their choices back. I watched Alex talking to the FBI cybercrime unit, explaining how deep the manipulation went, even the painful ones. Like knowing your mother changed your grades, her voice cracked, or that your father wanted to rewrite your mind. I started to reach for her, then stopped myself. Emily, I saw it all, Mom, in the code. She finally looked at me. What they were planning, total digital consciousness control. And I almost helped them perfect it. But you didn't. Because you showed me the truth. She laughed bitterly. Ironic, right? The liar teaching honesty. Across the park, Olivia was arguing with the officers. I caught fragments. My sister, they'll kill her if... You don't understand. Emily followed my gaze. She wasn't lying about that part. I found the files. They're holding her sister hostage somewhere, using Shadowview to track her every move. Then we'll find her. I pulled out the laptop. The right way this time. No manipulation, no control. Just truth? Emily's fingers hovered over her tablet. Even when it hurts? Especially then. She nodded slowly, then began to type. I saved something. Before destroying the servers, every real record, every unaltered file, including yours, from Preston Academy. My hand stilled on the keyboard. Emily, you didn't start the fire. Her voice was quiet. The principal did. When he realized you'd copied the evidence, I found the original security footage. She looked up. You tried to save those kids, and he burned everything to stop you. Then made you believe it was your fault. The truth I'd carried for years cracked open, letting in light. But you still changed my grades, she continued. Still tried to control my future. Yes. Why? Because I thought I could protect you from pain by controlling the outcome. I watched Michael being placed in a police car. Like father, like mother. Emily's tablet chimed. A message from her hacker friends. Hidden server located. Olivia's sister found. Mom? Emily's voice had changed, grown somehow. I need to tell you something. About MIT. She took a deep breath. I knew about the grade changes. I found them months ago before any of this started, and I changed them back, applied with my real grades. What? She pulled up an email on her tablet. I got in yesterday, for real this time. Pride and shame warred in my chest. Emily, I know. She stood, offering me her hand. Come on, we have a sister to save, and I think maybe we both need to learn how to help people without trying to control them. As we walked toward Alex and the FBI agents, my phone buzzed one last time. A final shadow view notification. System purge complete. Digital consciousness protocols terminated. Human choice protocols restored. They'll try again, Emily said, reading over my shoulder. Maybe not Dad and Olivia, but someone will try to control reality like this. Probably. I squeezed her hand. But they'll have to get through us first. She smiled, not my smile anymore, but entirely her own. Think we can handle it, without burning anything down or rewriting any code? I looked at my daughter, seeing her clearly for the first time. I think we'll choose to try. My phone chimed again. An unknown number, but the message was clear. This isn't over. Some truths can't be deleted. Emily read it and nodded. Good, she said firmly. They shouldn't be. Together, we walked into the dawn, leaving digital shadows behind, choosing instead the harder path of unfiltered light.
The message arrived during our first wedding anniversary dinner. One simple text that shattered everything I thought I knew about my marriage. I watched Ethan's face change as he read his phone under the dim lighting of Atlas, Atlanta's most exclusive restaurant, the same restaurant where he had proposed exactly 2 years ago. I have to go, he said, already standing up. Emergency board meeting. Now, it's 9 p.m. I gripped my wine glass tighter, the stem threatening to snap between my fingers. On our anniversary? He wouldn't meet my eyes. The Singapore deal. You know how crucial this is for the company. Of course I knew. Turner Technologies had been chasing this merger for months, but tonight was supposed to be different. Special. You promised, Ethan. No work tonight. Kylie, please. His voice carried that edge of condescension he used when he thought I was being unreasonable. We'll celebrate properly next weekend. I'll take you anywhere you want. I watched him adjust his tie, noticed how his fingers trembled slightly. In 15 months of marriage, I'd never seen his hands shake. At least let me drive you, I offered, reaching for my purse. No need. Car's already waiting. He dropped a quick kiss on my forehead. Don't wait up. The maitre d' materialized with Ethan's coat, too quickly for it to have been a spontaneous departure. This had been planned. I sat alone at our table, staring at his half-finished Wagyu steak and the champagne he hadn't touched. The anniversary gift in my purse suddenly felt foolish, a handmade album chronicling our first year together. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Your husband isn't at any board meeting. Ask him about Sophia Hayes. I read the message 3 times, each word burning deeper into my mind. Sophia Hayes. The name wasn't entirely unfamiliar. She was Ethan's new business partner, brought in 6 months ago to help with international expansion. Is everything all right, madam? The waiter hovered nearby, concern etched on his face. Yes, I gestured vaguely at the table. Could you pack this up? My hands were steady as I gathered my things, signed the check, accepted the carefully packaged leftovers. Outside, the valet brought my car around. I sat behind the wheel, not starting the engine. Another text arrived, this time with an attachment. The photo showed Ethan entering the St. Regis, Sophia Hayes' slim figure preceding him through the revolving doors. The timestamp read 9:17 p.m., 7 minutes ago. I zoomed in on his face. He was smiling. Not the practiced corporate smile he wore at business functions, but the real one, the one I thought belonged to me. My phone rang. Mia's name flashed on the screen. Hey, how's the anniversary dinner going? Her voice was bright, excited. It's not. I surprised myself with how calm I sounded. Ethan had an emergency board meeting. What? On your anniversary? That's bull. He's at the St. Regis. I cut her off. With Sophia Hayes. Silence stretched between us. Then, I'm coming over. Don't do anything stupid before I get there. I'm fine, I said, starting the car. Really, I just need to think. Kylie. Mia's voice turned sharp. Promise me you won't confront him tonight. Not until we figure this out. I watched another couple exit Atlas, laughing, wrapped up in each other. The woman wore red, like me. The man had his arm around her waist, protective, proud. "I promise," I lied, pulling into traffic. "I'm heading home now." I ended the call and typed the St. Regis into my GPS, 15 minutes away. Traffic was light. The second anonymous text arrived as I waited at a red light. "There's more you need to know, much more. When you're ready to hear it, call this number." I saved the contact under truth and pressed harder on the accelerator. The city lights blurred around me as I drove toward the hotel where my husband was betraying everything we'd built together. Some anniversaries mark beginnings, others mark endings. Tonight would be both. The St. Regis lobby gleamed with old money and secrets. I sat in a leather armchair, watching the elevator numbers change, my hands perfectly still in my lap. 3 hours had passed since I'd arrived, and still no sign of Ethan or his emergency board meeting. My phone buzzed. Mia again. "Where are you, really?" she demanded. "Exactly where I shouldn't be." I kept my voice low, watching a couple stumble past, giggling into each other's necks. But exactly where I need to be. "Get out of there, now. You're just torturing yourself." The elevator dinged. My heart stopped, then started again when an elderly couple emerged. "I can't leave. Not until..." "Until what? Until you see them together? What good will that do?" Before I could answer, Rebecca Turner's voice cut through the lobby like a blade. "Kylie, what an unexpected surprise." My mother-in-law stood before me in a midnight blue evening gown. Perfect makeup at midnight, not a silver hair out of place. Of course she'd be here. The Turners practically owned the hotel. I rose, smoothing my anniversary dress. "Rebecca, I was just looking for Ethan." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "He mentioned the board meeting, such unfortunate timing." "Did he mention where exactly this meeting was taking place?" Rebecca's perfectly manicured hand touched my arm. Her grip was gentle but firm. "Darling, let's have a drink. The bar here makes an excellent martini." "Gotta go," I whispered into the phone, ending Mia's protests. The bar was nearly empty. Rebecca ordered 2 martinis without consulting me. "You know," she said, stirring her olive, "when Jonathan and I first married, I made similar mistakes." Mistakes? Showing up unannounced, questioning his work commitments. It's natural to feel insecure when marrying into a family like ours. The martini arrived. I left it untouched. "I'm not insecure. I'm observant." "Are you?" Her voice hardened slightly. "Then you must have observed how crucial this Singapore merger is, how much pressure Ethan is under." "And Sophia Hayes? How crucial is she?" Rebecca's pause was microscopic, but telling. "She's an invaluable asset to the company. Her connections in Asian markets are unparalleled." "Is that all she is?" "Careful, Kylie." Rebecca set her glass down with precise control. "Accusations without evidence can be dangerous, especially in our circles." My phone buzzed again. Another message from the unknown number. "Check the presidential suite, room 2401. "You're right," I said, standing. "I should go home. Thank you for the drink." Rebecca's relief was palpable. "I'll have Thomas bring your car around." "No need. I'd like to use the restroom first." She nodded, already reaching for her phone, probably to warn Ethan. I waited until she left, then headed for the service elevator I'd noticed earlier. The keycard I'd charmed from a sympathetic housekeeper burned in my clutch. Floor 24 was silent. The presidential suite door loomed at the end of the hall like a challenge. I raised my hand to knock, then stopped. What would I actually achieve? Catch them in the act? Create a scene? Become the hysterical wife Rebecca already thought I was? My phone buzzed one final time. Sometimes knowing is worse than suspecting. "Are you sure you're ready?" I stared at the message, remembering Ethan's trembling hands at dinner, Rebecca's calculated intervention, the weight of unspoken threats beneath her polite warnings. The elevator dinged. I turned to see Sophia Hayes step out, her black dress a second skin, her expression freezing when she saw me. "Mrs. Turner," she said, recovering quickly. "This is unexpected." "Is it?" I smiled, channeling Rebecca's perfect poise. "I thought we should finally meet properly, since you're such an invaluable asset to the company." She matched my smile with equal insincerity. "Perhaps we should discuss this tomorrow." in a more appropriate setting. Oh, I think this setting is perfect. I gestured to the suite door. Shall we see if my husband agrees? The mask slipped for just a second, showing something like respect. You're not what they said you'd be. No, I agreed, turning toward the elevator. I'm much worse. I left her standing there, my head high, my heart hammering. I had what I needed now: confirmation, witnesses, and most importantly, the knowledge that I wasn't crazy. The game they'd been playing had rules I was just beginning to understand, but I was a quick learner, and I had nothing left to lose. The manila envelope landed on my desk with a soft thud. Inside were dozens of photos, surveillance shots from the past 3 months. Ethan and Sophia at various hotels, restaurants, intimate moments they thought were private. But the most damning image wasn't of their affair at all. Look at the last one, Liam said, leaning against my office wall. The private investigator's expression remained neutral, professional. The final photo showed Sophia in what looked like a private meeting room, shaking hands with Turner Technologies' biggest competitor. The timestamp was from yesterday. Corporate espionage, I said, my voice hollow. She's not just sleeping with my husband. She's selling company secrets. There's more. Liam handed me a USB drive. Financial records, wire transfers, your husband's signature on some very interesting documents. My phone buzzed. Ethan's face appeared on the screen. I let it ring. He's been calling all morning, I said. Probably figured out I hired you. What's your next move? Before I could answer, my office door burst open. Rebecca Turner stood there, perfectly coiffed as always, but her eyes blazed with fury. How dare you hire a private investigator? She strode in, ignoring Liam completely. Do you have any idea what you've done? I spread the photos across my desk. Exactly what I needed to do, apparently. These mean nothing. She swept them aside with one manicured hand. You're seeing conspiracies where there's only business. Business. I pulled out the competitor meeting photo. Is this the kind of business Turner Technologies conducts now? Something flickered in Rebecca's eyes, fear maybe, or recognition. You're in over your head, Kylie. Stop this now and we can pretend it never happened. Like you're pretending Sophia isn't destroying your company from the inside out? You don't understand. I understand perfectly. I stood up, matching her height in my heels. The question is, does Jonathan know what his precious son and his new partner are doing to his legacy? Rebecca's face went white. Leave Jonathan out of this. Why? Because he's sick? Because the stress might kill him? I leaned forward. Or because he'd actually do something about it? The slap caught me off guard. The sting spread across my cheek as Rebecca stared at her own hand in horror. Mrs. Turner, Liam stepped forward, his voice carrying a warning. It's fine, I said, never breaking eye contact with my mother-in-law. Rebecca was just leaving. She gathered herself, straightening her designer jacket. Think very carefully about your next move, Kylie. Some wars aren't worth fighting. After she left, Liam whistled low. Well, that confirms it. They're scared. My phone buzzed again. This time, a text from Ethan. We need to talk. Please, I can explain everything. Another message followed immediately. Don't show those photos to anyone. You don't understand what's at stake. What's your professional opinion? I asked Liam, touching my stinging cheek. Professionally? Take the evidence to the board. Let them handle it. He paused. Personally? There's something bigger going on here. The way they're reacting. This goes deeper than an affair. My computer pinged. A new email from the anonymous source who'd first tipped me off about Sophia. Ready for the real story? Meet me at the Botanical Gardens. 3 p.m., come alone. Could be a trap, Liam said, reading over my shoulder. Could be answers. I gathered the photos, securing them in my safe. Sometimes you have to walk into the trap to spring it. Want me to follow at a distance? I shook my head. No, but stay close to your phone. If I'm not out by 4 p.m., release everything we have to the board. And if they try to bury it, then release it to every media outlet in Atlanta. I grabbed my coat. The Turners aren't the only ones who know how to play hardball. My phone buzzed one final time. Sophia, you're making a mistake. Some secrets are kept secret for a reason. I deleted the message without responding. They were all so concerned about protecting their secrets, their legacy, their precious company. None of them had stopped to consider that maybe I had secrets of my own. Maybe it was time they learned what happened when you underestimated the woman they'd welcomed into their perfect family. After all, the best revenge isn't served cold. It's served exactly when they least expect it. The botanical gardens felt too peaceful for the conversation I was about to have. My anonymous source had chosen the orchid room, humid, private, filled with rare blooms that probably cost more than my car. I recognized Jonathan Turner immediately, sitting alone on a marble bench. My father-in-law looked smaller than I remembered, frailer. The company's official story was that he'd stepped down due to health issues. Seeing him now, I wondered if that hadn't been another carefully crafted lie. "You're the one who sent the photos," I said, remaining standing. He nodded, not looking at me. "Sophia Hayes isn't just destroying my company. She's destroying my son." "And you let her?" "Sit down, Kylie, please." His hands trembled slightly as he patted the space beside him. "There are things you need to understand." I sat, keeping distance between us. Through the glass walls, I could see Liam's car in the parking lot, despite my instructions. Some people just couldn't follow orders. "Turner Technologies is being investigated by the SEC," Jonathan said quietly. "Fraud, money laundering, things that could send people to prison." "Sophia's doing? If only it were that simple." He pulled out a folder, aged and worn. "This goes back years. Before Sophia, before Ethan took over. My signature is on everything." The implications hit me like a physical blow. "You're protecting him, letting Sophia take the fall." "I'm dying, Kylie. Cancer. 6 months, maybe less." His voice remained steady, matter of fact. "My last act will be taking responsibility for everything. The company will survive. Ethan will be clear of suspicion. And Sophia? Does she know she's your scapegoat?" A slight smile crossed his face. "She thinks she's outsmarting us all, playing Ethan, orchestrating a takeover. She has no idea she's exactly where we need her to be." My phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. "Where are you? We need to talk. Now." "Does he know?" I asked Jonathan. "About the cancer?" "No one does, except Rebecca." He touched my arm gently. "And now you." "Why tell me?" "Because you have a choice to make." He handed me the folder. "These documents prove everything. What you do with them will determine the future of this family." Another text from Ethan. "Dad's missing, Mom's worried, call me back." "You're asking me to help destroy an innocent woman to save your guilty son. I'm asking you to understand that justice isn't always clean." Jonathan stood slowly, his movements careful. Sometimes protecting the people we love means becoming someone we never thought we'd be. My phone rang. Mia this time. I silenced it. What if I go public with everything? The affair, the fraud, all of it. Then Turner Technologies falls. Thousands lose their jobs. The family name becomes worthless. He started walking away, then paused. And Ethan goes to prison anyway. The evidence against him is overwhelming. You planned this whole thing, I realized. Meeting Sophia, bringing her into the company. You needed someone to take the fall. He didn't deny it. The question isn't what I did, Kylie. It's what you'll do now. After he left, I sat alone among the orchids, holding a folder that could destroy everything. My phone kept buzzing. Ethan, Mia, Rebecca, even Liam now. A final text came through from Sophia. Whatever Jonathan told you is a lie. Meet me. I can prove it. I opened the folder, reading documents that showed years of systematic fraud. Jonathan's signature everywhere, protecting Ethan like he always had, like any father would. But there, in the margins of one document, was a detail Jonathan hadn't mentioned. A single name that changed everything. Mark Turner, my father. His signature, right next to Jonathan's, on documents dated years before I'd even met Ethan. The orchids suddenly felt suffocating, their perfect beauty a mockery. I pulled out my phone, scrolling through my contacts until I found the number I needed. Liam, I need you to look into something else. My father's connection to Turner Technologies. I paused, watching a rare black orchid sway in the artificial breeze. And clear your schedule. This just got a lot more complicated. Sometimes the real betrayal isn't the one you're looking for. It's the one that's been there all along, hiding in plain sight, waiting for the perfect moment to bloom. The lock on my office door had been changed, my keycard deactivated. Even my company email returned error messages. Mrs. Turner's security clearance has been revoked, the guard explained, not meeting my eyes. Direct orders from Mr. Turner. I stood in the lobby of Turner Technologies, watching employees hurry past, their gazes carefully averted. Just yesterday, I'd been one of them. Now I was a stranger in my own workplace. My phone buzzed. Another email from a client canceling their contract, the third one today. Someone had been busy spreading rumors about my mental instability and unprofessional conduct. Need a ride? Liam appeared beside me, casual as if he'd been there all along. I need more than that. I handed him my phone, opened to the latest message from my father. He's not returning my calls. Mom says he's dealing with some business matters. Liam scanned the message. Your father's bank records came in. Regular deposits from an offshore account starting 15 years ago. Same account that's linked to the Turner Technologies fraud. The marble floor seemed to tilt beneath my feet. He was part of it from the beginning. There's more. Liam hesitated. Your marriage to Ethan? The chance meeting at that charity gala? It was arranged. Your father orchestrated the whole thing. A laugh bubbled up, harsh, unfamiliar. So I'm what? The sacrificial lamb? Insurance against investigation? Your leverage. Sophia's voice cut through the lobby. She stood by the elevators, perfectly poised in designer white, though not the kind they intended. Security moved toward her, but she held up a hand. It's fine. Mrs. Turner and I are just having a friendly chat. Nothing about this is friendly, I said, but followed her to a quiet corner. Liam kept his distance, watching. They're going to pin everything on me, Sophia said quietly. The fraud, the takeover attempt, all of it, unless we stop them. Why should I believe you? Because unlike everyone else in your life, I have no reason to lie. She pulled out her phone, showed me an email chain. Your father arranged your marriage because the Turners were threatening to expose him. You were his protection. Now you're their insurance. My hands clenched. And Ethan? Was he part of this plan? Ethan? She smiled sadly. Ethan's just like you. Another pawn in their game, though he figured it out sooner. The elevator dinged. Ethan stepped out, freezing when he saw us. The bruise-like circles under his eyes matched mine. Kylie. He started forward, then stopped as Liam moved closer. Please, just let me explain. Explain what? My voice carried across the lobby. How our entire marriage was a business transaction? How you slept with Sophia to, rebel against Daddy's plans? I loved you, he said quietly. That part was real. Nothing about this is real. I turned to leave, but Sophia caught my arm. The company gala is tomorrow night, she whispered. Jonathan plans to announce his retirement, name Ethan as CEO, and subtly implicate me in everything. Once that happens, it's over. For all of us. My phone buzzed again. A message from Rebecca. We need to talk. About your father. About everything. Why are you telling me this? I asked Sophia. Because I'm tired of being a pawn too. She released my arm. The question is, are you ready to be a queen instead? I looked at Ethan, still standing frozen by the elevators. At Liam, watching everything with calculated interest. At the employees pretending not to stare, wondering which side of history they should choose. The gala, I said finally. What exactly are you proposing? Sophia smiled, not her usual practice smile, but something sharper. They want to play happy families? Let's give them a reunion they'll never forget. My phone buzzed one final time. My father. Whatever they're telling you, don't listen. Remember whose daughter you are. That was the problem, wasn't it? I was exactly my father's daughter. And tomorrow night, they'd all learn what that really meant. I'll need access to certain files, I told Sophia, and a guarantee that when this is over, everyone pays, not just your chosen scapegoats. Everyone, she agreed, including your father. I nodded, feeling something cold and certain settle in my chest. Then let's give them what they want. One last perfect family gathering. After all, what's a party without a few surprises? The gala invitation felt heavy in my hands, embossed letters catching the light. Turner Technologies celebrates excellence, as if excellence included fraud, betrayal, and carefully orchestrated marriages. I adjusted my black dress in the mirror, noticing how different I looked. Harder, colder, more like Rebecca than I'd ever wanted to be. "Everything's in place," Liam said through my earpiece. "Thumb drive's loaded with the evidence. Just needs to be connected to their presentation system." "And my father?" "Arrived 10 minutes ago. He's with Jonathan Turner in the private lounge." Of course he was. Conspirators to the end. The St. Regis ballroom glittered with wealth and pretense. Sophia stood near the stage in deep red, playing her part perfectly. Ethan worked the crowd, his smile never reaching his eyes. Rebecca held court by the champagne fountain, probably already planning damage control. "Kylie." My father appeared beside me, his familiar cologne now sickeningly sweet. "We need to talk." "About what? The arranged marriage? The fraud? Or how about those offshore accounts?" "Listen to me very carefully." His voice dropped low, urgent. "Whatever you're planning tonight, don't. You have no idea what you're really involved in." "I know enough." "No, you don't." He gripped my arm, hard enough to bruise. "This goes beyond the company, beyond the Turners. There are people who will make sure you never—" "Mark." Jonathan Turner's voice cut through the tension. "I believe your wife is looking for you." My father released me, straightening his tie. "Think about what I said, sweetheart. Please." I watched him disappear into the crowd, rubbing my arm where his fingers had left marks. 10 minutes until the announcement," Liam said in my ear. I moved toward the tech booth, champagne glass in hand, playing the part of the dutiful wife. "Almost there." "Going somewhere?" Rebecca blocked my path, steel beneath her smile. "The family's sitting up front for the announcement. Together." "Of course," I matched her tone. "Wouldn't want to break tradition." She guided me to the reserved table, keeping a perfectly manicured hand on my shoulder. Ethan sat to my left, Sophia across from us. A tableau of family unity, ready for the cameras. Jonathan took the stage, looking frail but determined. Tonight marks a new chapter for Turner Technologies. "Now, Kylie," Liam urged, before the announcement. I started to rise, but Ethan's hand found mine under the table. "Don't," he whispered. "Why not? Afraid of the truth?" "Afraid for you." His grip tightened. "They killed someone over this, Kylie, 10 years ago, a whistleblower." The room seemed to tilt. "What? Why do you think I played along? Why do you think your father arranged this marriage? It wasn't just about money." On stage, Jonathan was building to his big moment. Rebecca's hand remained on my shoulder, a warning disguised as affection. "Your mother's accident last year?" Ethan's voice barely a whisper now. "It wasn't an accident." The champagne turned acid in my stomach. The car crash that had put my mother in physical therapy for months. The brake failure that everyone called a miracle because she survived. 3 minutes, Liam said, oblivious to the revelation. "It's now or never." I looked at Sophia, saw the same knowledge in her eyes. This wasn't just about corporate fraud anymore. This was about murder, about my mother, about how far they'd go to keep their secrets. "And now," Jonathan announced, "I'm proud to present the future of Turner Technologies." The thumb drive felt like it was burning through my clutch. One move and I could expose everything. But at what cost? "Make your choice," Sophia mouthed silently. Rebecca's grip tightened. My father watched from across the room, fear evident in his stance. Ethan's hand trembled in mine. The spotlight swept over our table, highlighting the perfect family picture we presented. In that moment, I realized why revenge stories never end well. Because sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. Sometimes it just shows you how deep the darkness really goes. I reached for my champagne glass with steady hands, raised it in a toast to Jonathan on stage, and made my decision. After all, the best revenge isn't served at a party. It's served one piece at a time, when they least expect it. And I could be very, very patient. 3 weeks after the gala, I walked into Turner Technologies carrying nothing but a USB drive and 15 years of buried secrets. The security guard nodded me through, my clearance mysteriously restored yesterday after an administrative error. The boardroom was already full. Jonathan Turner sat at the head, looking more ghost than CEO. Ethan and Rebecca flanked him like royal guards. My father occupied his usual seat, fingers drumming an anxious rhythm on the mahogany table. Sophia's chair remained conspicuously empty. "Mrs. Turner?" Jonathan gestured to the vacant seat. "Thank you for accepting our invitation." I remained standing. Interesting timing, right after Sophia's unfortunate accident. The room temperature seemed to drop. Sophia's car crash had made headlines, brake failure just like my mother's, except Sophia hadn't survived. "A tragedy," Rebecca murmured. "We're all devastated." "Are we?" I connected my drive to the presentation system. "Because I have proof that someone accessed Sophia's car's computer system remotely, the same way they did with my mother's car last year." Ethan's head snapped up. My father's drumming stopped. "Careful, Kylie." Jonathan's voice carried a warning. "Grief can make us imagine things. Nothing imaginary about this." The screen filled with code, the same signature in both accidents. Or about the whistleblower's death 10 years ago, or the offshore accounts, or my arranged marriage. "That's enough." Rebecca stood, reaching for the remote. "Sit down, Rebecca." The command came from Ethan, surprising everyone. "Let her finish." I pulled up more documents, years of evidence Sophia had helped me compile before they killed her. "You were right about one thing. I didn't understand what I was involved in. But Sophia did. She left me everything." "Sophia was unstable," my father interjected. "Her evidence wouldn't hold up in court." I smiled. "It already has. The SEC received everything this morning. So did the FBI, and every major news outlet in the country." The boardroom erupted. Rebecca lunged for the presentation controls. My father started shouting about family loyalty. Jonathan remained eerily still, watching me with something like respect. "You've destroyed us all," Rebecca hissed. "No." I finally sat down, directly across from Ethan. "You did that yourselves. I'm just making sure everyone pays the right price." "Including me?" Ethan asked quietly. "Especially you." I met his gaze. "You knew about my mother's accident. You could have warned me." "I tried. Not hard enough." Jonathan's laugh cut through the chaos, a harsh, rattling sound. "Well played, Kylie, but you've overlooked one detail." He pressed a button under the table. "We still control the narrative." Security flooded the room. Not Turner Technologies security, private contractors with cold eyes and concealed weapons. "The same team that handled Sophia?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "Among others." Jonathan stood slowly. "Your evidence will be tragically lost in a server fire, and you'll be remembered as another unstable whistleblower who couldn't handle the pressure." "Check your phones," I said. One by one, they did. Their faces drained of color as they saw the live stream, everything being broadcast directly from the boardroom. Liam's parting gift, hidden cameras capturing every threat, every admission. 2 million viewers and counting, I noted. "Still think you control the narrative?" The private security team's radios crackled. FBI in the lobby, SWAT teams surrounding the building. "It's over," I told Jonathan. "The only question is whether you'll face justice or try to escape it like Sophia." Rebecca crumpled into her chair. My father buried his face in his hands. But Ethan started laughing. "You magnificent bitch," he said, admiration clear in his voice. "You played us all." I learned from the best. I stood as federal agents entered the room. Family tradition, right? Jonathan Turner, architect of so much pain, finally looked his age. "You truly are your father's daughter." "No," I corrected him, watching handcuffs close around wrists that had once held so much power. "I'm my mother's daughter, and she taught me that justice always comes due." The aftermath would be messy. Headlines, trials, the dismantling of an empire built on blood and lies. But watching them led away, I felt no satisfaction, no triumph, only a quiet certainty that some debts can only be paid in full. The courtroom emptied slowly, leaving me alone with the ghosts of everything that had happened. Jonathan Turner's cancer had claimed him before justice could, but Rebecca and my father would serve their sentences. Ethan had taken a plea deal, trading testimony for leniency. I traced my fingers over the polished wood of the witness stand where I'd spent the last 3 days testifying. The truth had poured out of me like poison from a wound. Every betrayal, every lie, every calculated move in their perfect game. Ready to go? Mia appeared in the doorway, keys jingling in her hand. Almost. I gathered my things, pausing at the evidence table where photos still lay scattered, frozen moments of a life I'd thought was real. My wedding day, family dinners, corporate galas where we'd all smiled while plotting against each other. The press is waiting outside, she warned. Let them wait. The click of expensive heels announced another presence. Rebecca Turner allowed one final conversation before being taken to serve her sentence. I underestimated you, she said simply. You underestimated everyone. That was your mistake. She nodded, perfectly coiffed even in defeat. Jonathan wanted you to have this. She placed an envelope on the table. He wrote it before. I don't want anything from him. It's not what you think. She straightened her designer jacket, her last act of dignity before prison. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't destroying your enemies, it's understanding them. She left without another word, head high until the end. The envelope felt heavy in my hands. Inside was a single photograph, Jonathan and my father as young men, standing in front of a startup company's logo. Their company before Turner Technologies existed, before greed and power had corrupted everything they touched. My phone buzzed. Ethan. I meant what I said, about loving you. I deleted the message without responding. Some lies we choose to believe, and some truths we choose to forget. Your mother's waiting, Mia reminded me gently. Mom had recovered fully from her accident, stronger now that she knew the truth. She divorced my father the day after his arrest, reclaiming her maiden name and her independence. Outside the courthouse, reporters surged forward with questions about justice, revenge, family loyalty. I pushed past them toward my mother's waiting car, but stopped at the sight of Liam standing by his vehicle. One last piece of evidence came in, he said, holding out a final USB drive. About Sophia's death. Turns out she knew it was coming. Left instructions about what to do with her shares in the company. Let me guess, she left them to me? He nodded. Controlling interest. The board's waiting for your decision about the company's future. I took the drive, feeling its weight, not just data, but responsibility, power, the very things that had corrupted the Turners. You know what the difference is between justice and revenge? I asked him. What's that? Justice changes things. Revenge just continues the cycle. I dropped the drive into the fountain outside the courthouse, watching it sink to the bottom. The reporters' cameras clicked frantically, capturing the moment Turner Technologies' fate changed forever. What now? Mia asked as we reached my mother's car. I looked back at the courthouse one last time. Rebecca being led away in handcuffs. Ethan standing alone, watching me through the crowd. The empire of lies crumbling behind them. Now we build something new, I said. Something honest. Mom squeezed my hand as I slid into the passenger seat. She'd taught me that strength isn't about revenge or power. It's about choosing when to fight and when to let go. The reporters would write their stories. The courts would handle the rest. But as we drove away from the ruins of the Turner legacy, I realized some victories don't need headlines. Sometimes they just need silence and the courage to write your own ending. Even if that ending isn't perfect. Even if some questions remain unanswered. Even if some ghosts refuse to rest.
The knife slips from my fingers and clatters against the marble countertop, splattering red sauce across my pristine white cookbook. I can hear them in the living room, Mark's voice rising like thunder, Tyler's sharp responses cutting through the walls. My latest blog post has stirred up the hornet's nest, just as I knew it would. I'm Addison, and this is the moment my carefully crafted life begins to splinter. You let her humiliate us online? Tyler's voice cracks with teenage fury. Everyone at school reads her stupid blog. Watch your tone, Mark snaps back. I'm handling this. I wipe my hands slowly on my apron, savoring the tremor of anticipation coursing through me. The post wasn't even that inflammatory. Just a little story about family dynamics gone wrong, sprinkled with carefully chosen details that only they would recognize. The passive-aggressive masterpiece took me 3 days to perfect. Handling it? Like you handle everything else? Tyler's footsteps pound across the hardwood. By pretending nothing's wrong, I step into the doorway, shoulders squared. Mark's face is flushed, his perfectly pressed dress shirt wrinkled from gesturing. Tyler stands near the fireplace, fists clenched, looking so much like his father, it makes my stomach turn. Everything okay in here? I keep my voice light, pleasant. The voice of the successful cookbook author and lifestyle blogger they've come to despise. Mark's eyes narrow. Take it down. Take what down, dear? Don't play stupid, Addison. That little story about the controlling father and his puppet son? Real subtle. I lean against the doorframe, crossing my arms. It's fiction, Mark. Creative license. My readers love family drama. Your readers? Tyler spits the words. You mean the thousands of strangers you feed our private lives to? They're called subscribers, honey. And they pay our bills. I smile, watching Mark's jaw clench. He hates that my blog makes more money than his middle management position ever did. I want it gone by morning, Mark says, each word measured and cold. Or we're going to have a serious problem. We already have a serious problem. I straighten up, dropping the pleasant mask. Several, actually. Would you like me to list them alphabetically or chronologically? Tyler storms past me, shoulder checking me hard enough to make me stumble. The stairs thunder under his feet, followed by the slam of his bedroom door. Mark takes 2 steps toward me, close enough that I can smell his cologne. And something else, something floral that definitely isn't mine. You're pushing too far, he whispers. Remember who helped build your precious career. I meet his gaze, steady and unflinching. Remember who's been dismantling it piece by piece? He backs away, straightening his tie. The post comes down, Addison. End of discussion. I watch him grab his keys and briefcase, heading for the door at 9 p.m. Another late night at the office, no doubt. The front door closes with deliberate softness, worse than any slam. Back in the kitchen, I pull up my blog on my tablet. The post has already gone viral, screenshots spreading across social media like wildfire. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't contain it now. My finger hovers over the delete button for a moment before I close the browser. My phone buzzes with a text from Jason. You okay? Saw the post. Call if you need backup. I type back quickly. I'm fine. Everything's going according to plan. The house settles into silence around me, broken only by muffled music from Tyler's room. I pick up the knife again, wiping off the sauce. The blade catches the light, gleaming like a promise. This was just the first cut, surgical and precise. They have no idea what's coming next. I open my laptop and begin typing the next post. This one will be about secrets, lies, and a woman named Rachel who works too closely with her boss. Let's see how Mark handles that tomorrow morning. The old photos mock me from their silver frames. Mark and me on our wedding day, his arm possessively around my waist. Tyler's first baseball game, where Mark coached his team to victory. Happy moments frozen in time, preserved behind glass like museum pieces of a life I barely recognize. I'm arranging dinner plates when Mark finally emerges from his study, phone pressed to his ear. Yes, we'll review those numbers tomorrow, he says, voice dripping with that honeyed tone he reserves for important calls. Thanks, Rachel. You're a lifesaver. Rachel. The name hits me like a slap. I've seen it flash across his phone screen too many times lately, always accompanied by that little smile he thinks I don't notice. Important work call? I keep my voice neutral, sliding a casserole onto the table. Just wrapping up some quarterly projections. He loosens his tie, avoiding my eyes. Where's Tyler? Football practice, though I doubt he's actually there. Mark's head snaps up. What's that supposed to mean? I saw him downtown yesterday with those new friends of his, during practice hours. I serve the food with precise movements, but I'm sure you'll find a way to excuse it. Don't start, Addison. Not tonight. When should I start, Mark? When he fails senior year? When he gets arrested? He slams his hand on the table, making the silverware jump. Maybe if you hadn't driven him away with your constant criticism. My criticism? I laugh, the sound sharp as broken glass. That's rich, coming from the man who told him my career was just a hobby. Your little cooking blog was supposed to be a hobby. Now it's taken over everything. He stabs at his food. You've changed. Into someone you can't control anymore? The front door slams before he can answer. Tyler storms through, reeking of cigarettes and defiance. His girlfriend Lily trails behind him, looking uncomfortable. "You're late," Mark says. "Practice ran long." Tyler grabs Lily's hand. "We're studying upstairs." "Sit down," I say. "Both of you." "Family dinner isn't optional," Tyler sneers. "We're not family. You made that clear in your blog." "Tyler," Lily whispers, tugging his sleeve. "Maybe we should—" "No." He yanks away from her. "I'm sick of pretending everything's fine. You write about us like we're characters in your stupid stories, twisting everything to make yourself look good." "I write the truth," I say, meeting his glare. "Maybe that's what bothers you both so much." Mark pushes back from the table. "Enough! Tyler, take Lily upstairs. We'll discuss this later." "There's nothing to discuss." Tyler turns to leave, but Lily doesn't move. She's staring at her phone, face pale. "Tyler, you should see this." He grabs the phone, color draining from his face as he reads. Mark's phone buzzes a moment later, then mine. The notifications pop up simultaneously. My latest blog post, already going viral. "You promised to take it down," Mark growls. I promised nothing." I take a slow sip of water. "And this one's different. This one's about a woman named Rachel, and all those late nights at the office." The silence that follows is absolute. Tyler looks between us, realization dawning in his eyes. Lily backs away, mumbling something about calling her mom. Mark's voice drops to a dangerous whisper. "You have no idea what you've started." "Actually, I do." I stand, gathering the untouched plates. "I'm finishing what you started years ago, when you decided I wasn't enough anymore." Tyler bolts upstairs after Lily. Mark grabs his keys, hands shaking with rage. "This ends now," he says. "I'm calling my lawyer." "Good." I smile, sweet as poison. "Tell him to check your company emails while he's at it. I'm sure Rachel's kept copies of everything." He freezes, hand on the doorknob. For a moment, I see fear crack through his perfect facade. Then he's gone, tires squealing in the driveway. I pull out my phone and text Jason. "It's done. Phase 1 complete." His reply comes instantly. "You okay?" I look around the empty dining room, at the family photos that tell such pretty lies. "Never better," I type back. The real fun's about to begin. Upstairs, I hear Tyler's door slam, followed by muffled arguing. Soon he'll discover his private messages with Lily have been leaked too. Nothing too damaging, just enough to show the world who he really is. Like father, like son. I open my laptop and begin drafting tomorrow's post. They think this is about revenge. They have no idea it's about justice. Jason's coffee grows cold as he listens to my plan, his expression darkening with each detail. We're tucked away in the corner of his bookstore, surrounded by towering shelves that muffle our conversation. Mark's lawyer sent another cease and desist, I say, sliding the letter across the table. They're threatening to sue for defamation. Can they prove any of it's false? I shake my head. Everything I wrote is technically true. I just arranged the pieces to tell the right story. The bell above the door chimes. Tyler walks in with Lily, then freezes when he sees me. His face has that hollow look teenagers get when they're carrying too many secrets. Lily tugs at his sleeve, but he shakes her off and storms toward our table. "You're ruining everything," he spits. "Dad's firm is investigating him because of your stupid blog." Jason stands, protective instinct kicking in. "Watch your tone, kid." "It's fine," I say, keeping my voice steady. "Tyler, we should talk about what's really going on. Like you care. You just want revenge because he found someone better." The words hit their mark, but I don't flinch. "Someone better? Is that what he told you about Rachel?" Lily steps forward, her voice barely above a whisper. "Tyler, maybe you should tell her what you saw." He whirls on her. "Shut up! Tell me what?" I look between them, noting how Tyler's hands are shaking. "Nothing," he snaps. "Just stay out of our lives." He grabs Lily's arm, but she pulls away. "I can't keep lying," she says. "It's not just Rachel. There are others." The world tilts slightly. Jason's hand finds my shoulder, steadying me. "You knew?" I ask Tyler. All this time? Dad said you drove him to it. His voice cracks. Said you were too focused on your career, too busy becoming someone else. And you believed him? I saw the texts, Lily blurts. On his phone. When he left it at Tyler's game last week, there were at least 3 different women, all from work. Tyler lunges for her phone, but Jason steps between them. That's enough. Tyler, go cool off. You're choosing her over family? Tyler's eyes are bright with unshed tears. After everything she's done. She is family, Jason says quietly. The only one trying to save you from becoming just like him. Tyler backs away, shoulders rigid. I hate you, he tells me. I hope he takes everything from you. The bell chimes again as he leaves. Lily stands there, twisting her phone in her hands. I have screenshots, she says. If you want them. My fingers curl around my coffee cup, seeking warmth. Why would you help me? Because Tyler's changing, becoming cruel like his dad. Maybe if he sees the truth. She places her phone on the table. Just don't tell him it came from me. After she leaves, Jason slides the phone toward me. You don't have to look. Yes, I do. I unlock the screen, start scrolling through messages that confirm every suspicion, every doubt, every moment of gaslighting I endured. This is perfect. Addison. Jason's voice carries a warning. Think about Tyler. I am thinking about Tyler. He needs to see who his father really is. I forward the screenshots to myself. Mark made him choose sides. Now he'll have to live with that choice. And if this breaks him, then he'll learn what I learned, that sometimes you have to break before you can rebuild. Jason sighs, running a hand through his graying hair. What's your next move? I pull out my laptop, fingers hovering over the keys. A story about fathers and sons, about inherited lies and the weight of choices. He'll come after you harder this time. Let him. I start typing, each word a bullet in my arsenal. I'm done being the victim in his story. Through the bookstore window, I catch a glimpse of Tyler in the parking lot, slumped against his car. For a moment, I see the little boy who used to beg me to read him bedtime stories. Then he straightens, pulls out his phone, and his face hardens into Mark's mask. Sometimes, I tell Jason, the kindest thing you can do for someone is force them to face the truth. The truth I'm crafting will burn through their carefully constructed lies like acid, revealing the rot beneath. Mark thinks he's fighting to save his reputation. He hasn't realized yet that I'm fighting to save his son. The email from Rachel arrives at 3 a.m. Its timestamp a digital confession of sleepless guilt. I've been waiting for this, the inevitable crack in Mark's carefully constructed facade. My cursor hovers over the attachment labeled Financial Records. My mother's voice echoes in my head from our conversation yesterday. Revenge is like holding onto hot coals, hoping someone else gets burned. I click anyway. The spreadsheets tell a story that makes my published blog posts look like children's fairy tales. Wire transfers, offshore accounts, creative accounting that would make our tax auditor weep. Mark hasn't just been hiding affairs. He's been hiding money, lots of it. My phone buzzes. Derek, our neighbor, whose job at Mark's firm suddenly makes him invaluable. You need to come over, he says without greeting. Now. I find him in his garage, surrounded by boxes of documents. His hands shake as he hands me a manila folder. I was reviewing the quarterly reports when I found these discrepancies. Mark's been cooking the books for years. And you're showing me because? Because he's setting you up to take the fall. Derek pulls out more papers. Your signature's on half these documents, forged, but good enough to fool investigators. The garage feels too small suddenly, the walls pressing in. Why help me? Because 20 years ago, my wife did the same thing to me. I lost everything protecting her reputation. My phone chimes with a text from Tyler. Dad's having a breakdown. Thanks for destroying our family. Does Rachel know about this? I ask Derek. She's the one who helped him set it up, but now she's scared. The SEC's sniffing around. I spread the documents across his workbench, pieces of a puzzle I never wanted to solve. He made me sign blank papers during our marriage, said it was for insurance, tax stuff. I trusted him. Trust is a weapon in the wrong hands. Another text from Tyler. He's drinking again. If anything happens to him, it's your fault. Derek watches me read it. Mark was at the bar last night, telling anyone who'd listen that you're trying to destroy him. He's unraveling. Good. But my voice lacks conviction. Is it? Because right now, you're holding evidence of major financial fraud, and your fingerprints are all over it. I start taking photos of the documents with trembling hands. I need to call Jason. Your friend, the bookstore owner? What's he going to do? His brother's a federal prosecutor. I pause, remembering something. And he keeps records of everything. I pull up my old emails, searching for specific dates. There, copies of every document Mark had me sign, sent to Jason just in case. Proof of my innocence, carefully preserved by paranoia, I didn't even know I had. My phone rings. It's Lily. Tyler's gone, she says, crying. He took his dad's gun and some money. He left a note saying he's going to fix everything. The photos slip from my hand, scattering across the concrete floor. What kind of note? Like a goodbye note. Please, I don't know what to do. Derek's already grabbing his keys. I'll drive. We peel out of the driveway as I dial Mark's number. Straight to voicemail. I try Rachel next. Where's Mark? How should I know? But her voice wavers. Tyler has his gun, Rachel. This isn't about affairs or money anymore. A sharp intake of breath. He said he was meeting Tyler at the lake house. Something about proving his love for you both. I hang up, turn to Derek. The lake house. Fast. My phone lights up with a final text from Tyler. You wanted to break him. Congratulations. Now watch what happens. The revenge I thought I wanted tastes like ashes in my mouth. I'd planned to destroy Mark's reputation, his career, his comfortable lies. Instead, I might have destroyed something far more precious. Derek pushes the speedometer higher as storm clouds gather overhead. What's your play here? I don't know anymore. I stare at the darkening sky, remembering Tyler as a child, learning to swim in that lake. I just know I can't let him become his father's last victim. Or mine. The lake house looms dark against the stormy sky, its windows reflecting lightning like camera flashes. Derek kills the headlights as we pull up, gravel crunching under the tires. Mark's car sits empty in the driveway, driver's door still open. Call the police, Derek says. I shake my head. They'll escalate things. Tyler's scared enough. Inside, rain drums against the roof as we move through rooms thick with memories. Family vacations, holiday gatherings, moments when we actually felt like a real family. A half-empty whiskey bottle on the kitchen counter leaves no doubt about Mark's state of mind. Dad? Tyler's voice echoes from upstairs, raw and desperate. Is that you? Derek reaches for his phone, but I grab his wrist. Let me handle this. Addison, Mark's voice now, slurred but dangerous. Come up and see what you've done to your family. I start up the stairs, each step creaking like an accusation. Derek follows, despite my gesture to stay back. Tyler, I call out, we can talk about this. Talk? Tyler laughs, bitter and broken. Like your blog talks about us? Making us into characters for your revenge story? I reach the top landing. They're in the master bedroom. Tyler by the window, Mark slumped in an armchair. The gun rests on Tyler's lap, his fingers tracing its outline. Put it down, son, Derek says from behind me. Don't call me that. Tyler's hand tightens on the weapon. You're just another one of her allies, everyone taking her side while Dad loses everything. Your father chose this path, I say, taking a careful step forward. The affairs, the fraud. Shut up! Mark lurches from his chair. You think you know everything? You think your little exposé makes you righteous? I know about Rachel, I say, and the others. I know about the offshore accounts. Tyler's head snaps up. What accounts? Don't listen to her, Mark sways, reaching for the gun. "She's trying to turn you against me, like she always has. By telling the truth." My voice rises despite myself. "Show him the transfers, Mark. Show him how you've been stealing from his college fund to pay off your mistresses." The gun wavers in Tyler's grip. "Dad?" Lightning flashes, illuminating Mark's face, no longer handsome, just hollow and afraid. "I was protecting us. Everything I did was for this family." Was Rachel for the family? The words taste like poison. The accountant before her? The intern? "Stop it!" Tyler stands, gun pointed at the floor. "Just stop destroying everything." "Your father already destroyed it," Derek says quietly. "Addison just exposed the wreckage." Mark lunges suddenly, grabbing for the gun. Tyler stumbles back, startled. The weapon discharges with a deafening crack. Time fragments like broken glass. Derek tackles Mark. Tyler drops the gun, horror spreading across his face, and I'm pressing my hands against Mark's shoulder, blood seeping between my fingers, while he stares up at me with something between hatred and recognition. "You won," he whispers. "Happy now?" Tyler backs away, shaking. "I didn't mean... I never wanted..." "Call an ambulance," I tell Derek, maintaining pressure on the wound. "Tyler, look at me. This isn't your fault." "Everything's my fault," he says. "That's what you've been writing all along, isn't it? How I'm becoming him." Sirens wail in the distance as rain pounds against the windows. Mark's blood feels warm against my cold hands, and I remember other moments of intimacy turn to violence. Not physical, but emotional wounds that never quite healed. "I wanted justice," I tell Tyler, my voice steady despite everything. "But not like this. Never like this." He slides down the wall, wrapping his arms around his knees like he did as a child after nightmares. What happens now? I look at Mark, barely conscious, then at Derek calling emergency services, and finally at Tyler, 17 and terrified, caught in the crossfire of adult vendettas. "Now we tell the truth," I say. "All of it. No more blogs, no more secrets. Just reality, however ugly it is." Lightning flashes again, and in that stark moment, I see my revenge for what it really is. Not justice, but a poison that's touched everyone I claim to be protecting. The sirens grow closer, promising questions I'm not sure how to answer. But as I hold pressure on Mark's wound, I realize some answers matter more than others. Like how to stop a cycle of destruction before it claims another generation. The hospital waiting room smells like bleach and broken promises. Tyler sits 3 chairs away, handcuffed to a police officer, while Rachel paces by the vending machines in her designer heels. The click, click, click of her steps matches my heartbeat. "Mrs. Harrison?" The detective's badge catches the fluorescent light. "We need to discuss the financial documents found at the lake house." My hands still feel sticky with Mark's blood. "Now? Your fingerprints are on multiple fraudulent documents, and given your blog posts, we have evidence of premeditation." Tyler's head snaps up. "Premeditation? Your stepmother may have orchestrated this entire situation." The detective's words cut through the antiseptic air. "Including the shooting." Rachel stops pacing. "I told you she was dangerous. Mark said a lot of things." I stand, legs shaking. "Check the dates on those documents. Check the signatures." "We did." He pulls out his phone, showing me an email. "Including this one, where you discussed making him pay with someone named Jason." My stomach drops. Our private conversations, carefully encrypted, now twisted into evidence. Jason's support becoming a weapon against me. "It wasn't her fault." Tyler's voice cracks. "I'm the one who..." "Don't." I cut him off. "Don't say another word." The surgery doors swing open. Evelyn hurries in, her face ashen. "Addison, what have you done?" "Mom, They're charging you with conspiracy and attempted murder." Her hands tremble as she clutches her purse. "The police just searched your house. They found everything." "Everything?" Rachel steps closer, vulture-like. "The offshore account records, the forged documents, the emails about..." Evelyn falters. "About making it look like an accident." The detective moves toward me. "Mrs. Harrison, you need to come with us. Those emails weren't about Mark." My voice sounds distant, hollow. They were about exposing the fraud. I was gathering evidence. While publicly threatening him on your blog? Rachel laughs sharply. "You documented your entire revenge fantasy for the world to see." Tyler struggles against his handcuffs. "She's lying. Dad was the one who—" "Tyler, stop." I meet his eyes, seeing the scared little boy beneath the anger. "Don't make this worse." "But they're twisting everything." He turns to the detective. "She was protecting me. Dad was the one with the gun. He had defensive wounds consistent with being attacked," the detective finishes, "and a history of being harassed by his ex-wife." Rachel produces her phone. "I have texts from Mark saying he was afraid of what she might do." Of course she does. They planned this, probably from the moment I started the blog. Every post I wrote, every piece of evidence I gathered, now weaponized against me. "Addison," Evelyn's voice breaks. "Please tell me you didn't plan this." I look at my mother's face, at Tyler's desperate eyes, at Rachel's triumphant smile. The revenge I thought I controlled has spiraled into something monstrous, consuming everything in its path. "I need my lawyer," I say quietly. The detective produces handcuffs. "Mrs. Harrison, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, financial fraud, and—" "She was protecting me!" Tyler shouts, tears streaming now. "Dad was stealing my college fund. He was lying about everything." "Tyler, enough!" My voice comes out sharper than intended. "This isn't your fault, any of it." As the detective reads my rights, I catch a glimpse of Mark's surgeon approaching. His expression tells me Mark will survive. Another twist of the knife. He'll live to spin his version of events, to play the victim while I face charges. "Mom," I whisper as they lead me away. "Take care of Tyler." Rachel's heels click, click, click behind us, probably already planning her next move. The detective's grip tightens as we pass the emergency room where Mark lies, surrounded by machines and morphine dreams. My revenge has come full circle, transforming me from victim to villain in one pull of a trigger. As the hospital doors slide open to a wall of waiting reporters, I realize Mark has won after all. He's made me into exactly what he always claimed I was, a monster of his own creation. The cameras flash like lightning at the lake house, capturing my fall from grace in high definition. The visiting room at the county jail smells like desperation and cheap coffee. Mark sits across from me, his arm in a sling, looking smaller without his expensive suits and practiced charm. Rachel hovers by the door like a well-dressed vulture, while our lawyers exchange whispers at opposite ends of the table. "You could have killed me," Mark says. "You're thinking of Tyler, the son you manipulated into pulling that trigger." His good hand clenches. "I want to make a deal." "No deals," Rachel interrupts. "We have her exactly where—" "Shut up." Mark's voice carries an edge I haven't heard before. "This ends today." My lawyer slides a document across the table. "Full confession of the financial fraud. Sign it." "And destroy myself?" Mark laughs, but it sounds hollow. "That's your play?" I lean forward, keeping my voice steady. "Check your phone, Rachel. The SEC just received some interesting emails." She fumbles with her designer purse, face paling as she reads. "Mark, she's bluffing. She couldn't have—" "Derek kept copies of everything," I say. "Every transaction, every forged document, every deleted email, including the ones where you two planned to frame me." Mark's facade cracks slightly. "You're in custody. They have evidence. They have what you wanted them to see." I slide another paper forward. "But Tyler's girlfriend had her own evidence. The texts where you admitted stealing his college fund, where you planned this whole setup." Rachel moves toward the door, but a guard blocks her path. "It's over, Mark." My hands are steady now. "Sign the confession, or I release everything, not just to the SEC, but to every media outlet that's been following this story." "You'll go down with us," Rachel snaps. "Maybe, but Tyler won't." I meet Mark's eyes. "That's the difference between us. I'm willing to burn if it means protecting him from becoming you. Mark stares at the confession, jaw working. You planned this. Even in custody, you were still learning from the master of manipulation? I smile without warmth. You taught me well. A commotion outside draws everyone's attention. Through the window, I see Tyler being led in by officers, Lily and my mother beside him. He looks different, older, harder, but somehow clearer. He's here to testify, my lawyer says, about everything. The gun, the threats, the money, all of it. Mark's face crumples. Tyler wouldn't. Already did. I push a pen toward him. Your choice now. Sign and face the fraud charges alone, or let your son tell the world what kind of father you really are. Rachel grabs her things. I'm calling my lawyer. Too late. My lawyer holds up his phone. The SEC has already frozen your accounts, both sets of them. Mark picks up the pen with trembling fingers. As he signs, I see the man I once loved. Weak, scared, finally facing consequences. The victory tastes like ash. Was it worth it? He asks, pushing the signed confession back. Destroying our family for revenge? You destroyed us long ago. I stand as the guards move in. I just made sure Tyler survived the wreckage. Through the window, I watch Tyler hug Lily, his shoulders straight, no longer carrying his father's weight. My mother catches my eye, nodding once, proud, sad, understanding. Rachel's taken into custody first, her designer heels clicking one last time on the concrete floor. Mark follows, pausing at the door. I did love you, he says. Once. No. I gather the confession, my ticket to freedom. You loved controlling me. There's a difference. The guards lead him away as my lawyer starts making calls. In minutes, the charges against me will be dropped. In hours, the true story will hit the news. By tomorrow, Mark and Rachel's carefully constructed world will be ashes. But watching Tyler through the glass, seeing him choose truth over loyalty, justice over protection, I realized this was never about revenge. It was about breaking cycles, about showing him a different kind of strength. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't in destroying your enemy, but in refusing to become them. The guard comes to release me, and I step toward my future, leaving the taste of revenge behind. Steam rises from the hot springs like memories trying to escape. My mother sits beside me, her silver hair gleaming in the sunset, while Tyler and Lily splash in the deeper pool nearby. Their laughter echoes against the mountains, young and uncertain, but healing. Rachel made a deal with prosecutors, I tell my mother, watching ripples spread across the water. Full testimony against Mark in exchange for reduced charges. She nods, understanding the weight of what I'm not saying. And the blog? Deleted. Some stories need to end. Tyler swims closer, his face more open than I've seen it in years. Jason called. Dad's sentencing is tomorrow. Are you going? I ask. No. He looks at Lily, then back at me. But I wrote him a letter about everything. The water feels warmer suddenly, or maybe it's the pride warming my chest. Tyler chose truth over loyalty, strength over anger. He's becoming someone different than his father, than the angry boy who once pointed a gun at shadows. I knew about Mark's affairs, my mother says quietly. Long before you did. The admission hangs in the steam between us. Why didn't you tell me? Because you needed to find your own strength, not have it handed to you like some inherited wisdom. Tyler and Lily drift back to their pool, their whispered conversation carrying traces of future plans, college, dreams, possibilities unmarred by the past. I found this in the lake house. My mother pulls a photograph from her robe pocket. Mark and me on our wedding day, his arm around my waist. Both of us smiling at a future we couldn't see clearly. You should burn it, Tyler calls over. But there's no bitterness in his voice now. No. I let the photo float on the water. Some things shouldn't burn. They should just float away. My phone buzzes. Derek texting updates about the SEC investigation. I silence it without reading. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, legal battles, the slow untangling of financial webs. But tonight belongs to steam and stars and the sound of young love learning to trust again. You never told me, my mother says, if the revenge was worth it. I watch Tyler teach Lily to float, his hands gentle under her back, nothing like Mark's controlling grip. It wasn't revenge in the end, it was revolution. Against what? Lies. Control. The stories we tell ourselves about love and loyalty. I sink deeper into the water. I thought I wanted to destroy Mark, but I really wanted to free Tyler and myself. A shooting star streaks overhead, and Lily makes a wish out loud. Something about future happiness that makes Tyler blush. My mother squeezes my hand under the water, a gesture that speaks of pride and understanding and the quiet strength of women who survive. Your new book, she says. Will it tell this story? Not directly, but it'll be about transformation, about turning poison into medicine. The steam thickens as night falls, blurring boundaries between water and air, past and future. Somewhere in a jail cell, Mark awaits sentencing. His carefully constructed world collapsed into concrete walls. Rachel faces her own reckoning, her ambition turned to ashes in her designer mouth. But here, in this moment, their shadows can't reach us. Tyler laughs at something Lily whispers, the sound pure and unguarded. My mother hums an old lullaby, one she used to sing when nightmares came. And I feel the last traces of bitterness dissolve in the mineral-rich water. I have something to tell you both, I say, drawing their attention. I'm selling the lake house. Tyler's expression flickers. Where will we go for holidays? I bought a small cottage by the ocean. I meet his eyes. Sometimes you need salt water to heal old wounds. He nods, understanding the metaphor, the need to build something new from the ground up. Lily squeezes his hand, and my mother smiles, the kind of smile that says she knew all along where this journey would lead. The stars multiply overhead, reflecting in the dark water like scattered diamonds. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges, but tonight we float in transformation, letting the warm water wash away the last echoes of retribution, replacing them with something stronger than revenge. Hope.
I stare at my reflection, adjusting the pearl necklace he gave me for our 10th anniversary. Funny how jewelry can feel like a collar when given by the wrong hands. The restaurant reservation is in an hour, and I'm dreading every minute until then. My name is Hazel, and tonight my husband of 15 years will tell me he's leaving me for his assistant. I already know because I saw the texts, the hotel receipts, the little traces of another life he's been building while dismantling mine. But I'll sit there and let him think he's breaking news to me, just like I've let him think so many things over the years. Mum, you look beautiful, Yara says from my doorway. My 16-year-old daughter leans against the frame, arms crossed. She's wearing that knowing look that makes her seem decades older than she is. Thank you, sweetheart. I smooth my dress, a classic black number that costs more than Mac thinks I can afford. Your father should be home soon. You don't have to go, you know. She steps into the room. We could order pizza, watch bad movies instead. I touch her cheek. Some performances require an audience, dear. The front door slams downstairs. Mac's home. Hazel! His voice carries up the stairs. We're going to be late if you're not ready. I give Yara a quick kiss on the forehead. Don't wait up. Downstairs, Mac's checking his phone, barely glancing up as I descend. He's wearing his power suit, the one he saves for board meetings and special occasions. How fitting. Finally, he mutters. The reservation's at 8, and you know how Graham hates when we're late. Graham's coming? I keep my voice neutral, though this is news to me. And Kennedy. Thought we'd make it a small celebration. He finally looks at me, his smile not reaching his eyes. That okay with you, Princess? The nickname lands like a slap. He's been using it more lately, weaponizing it. Poor little princess, living off her allowance, playing house while the real adults work. The drive to Le Petit is silent. I watch the city lights blur past, remembering the day 10 years ago when Mac's company was drowning in debt. He'd come home drunk, ranting about venture capitalists and hostile takeovers. I'd called Aunt Sella that night, and within a week, the Hunt Family Trust had quietly begun buying shares. Earth to Hazel. Mac's voice cuts through my thoughts as we pull up to the restaurant. Try to contribute to the conversation tonight, okay? These are important people. I smile. Of course, dear. Graham's already at the table, looking uncomfortable. Kennedy sits beside him, wearing a red dress that screams mistress to anyone paying attention. Her smile falters when she sees me. Hazel, you look lovely. Graham stands to greet us. He's always been kind, even if he is Mac's CFO. Thank you, Graham. I take my seat, noting how Mac positions himself closer to Kennedy than me. The waiter brings champagne. Mac raises his glass. To 15 years, he says, but he's looking at Kennedy. 15 years, I echo, sipping slowly. Remember when you almost lost the company, dear? Before that mysterious investor saved you? Kennedy shifts in her seat. Graham suddenly becomes very interested in his menu. Ancient history! Mac waves his hand dismissively. Besides, you wouldn't understand the complexities of corporate finance. Try me. He laughs, that condescending chuckle I've grown to hate. Honey, you can barely balance your checkbook. Let's not pretend. Speaking of pretending, I set down my glass. How long have you and Kennedy been sleeping together? The table goes silent. Kennedy's face drains of color. Graham looks like he wants to disappear. Excuse me? Mac's voice is dangerous now. You heard me. He leans forward, dropping his voice. You want to do this here? Fine. I was going to wait until after dinner, but since you're so eager, I'm filing for divorce. Kennedy and I are moving in together next weekend. By next quarter, you won't be my problem anymore. He smirks. Enjoy the allowance while you still have it. I stand slowly, gathering my purse. Thank you for dinner, Graham. I'm sorry you had to witness this. I turn to leave, then pause. Oh, and Mac, that allowance you love mocking? It's not an allowance at all, but you'll figure that out soon enough. I walk out of Le Petit with my head high, leaving them to chew on that little morsel. In the taxi home, I make 2 calls. The first is to Aunt Sella. It's time, I tell her voicemail. He finally did it. The second call is to Graham. Mrs. West, he answers immediately. Graham, I think we need to schedule that board meeting we discussed. And Graham, make sure Kennedy's termination papers are ready by morning. I hang up as the taxi pulls into my driveway. Yara's waiting up, pizza box open on the coffee table. How'd it go? She asks. I kick off my heels. Oh, honey, it went exactly as planned. The Hunt family estate looms before me, its iron gates opening silently as my car approaches. I haven't been here in months, but today's revelation at dinner left me no choice. Some conversations need to happen in person. Aunt Sella stands in the doorway, elegant as ever in her tailored suit. I wondered when you'd show up, she says, kissing my cheek. Tea's already brewing. The house smells the same. Old money and secrets. Family portraits line the walls, generations of Hunts staring down with identical expressions of quiet authority. I pause at my father's picture, taken just months before his death. He would be proud, Sella says, following my gaze. You've played the long game exactly as he would have. Did he know? I turn to face her. About Mac's true nature? She leads me to the study, where 2 cups of Earl Grey wait on the antique desk. Your father knew men like Mac. That's why he structured your trust the way he did. I sink into the leather chair, memories flooding back. 10 years ago, I'd sat in this same spot, listening as Sella explained how the trust would save Mac's company. Remember what I told you then? She asks. Never let them see the steel beneath the silk, I quote. I've lived by those words for a decade, Aunt Sella, watching Mac build his empire on our foundation, letting him believe it was all his doing. And now? Now he's pushed too far. I pull out my phone, showing her the text from Graham. The board meeting is set for next week. Mac's taken out unauthorized loans against company assets. Sella's eyes narrow. Foolish boy. Does he have any idea who he's dealing with? He's about to find out. I sip my tea, but I need access to the trust documents. All of them. She stands, walking to the wall safe hidden behind a painting. There's something you should know first. She returns with a thick folder. The initial investment wasn't my decision. I flip through the papers, stopping at a familiar signature. My hand trembles. Vienna, my sister arranged this? She came to me after seeing how Mac treated you at that Christmas party, said we needed insurance against him. Sella's voice softens. Your sister may have left the family, but she never stopped protecting you. My phone buzzes. Speaking of the devil. Vienna's text reads, Heard about dinner. I'm flying in tomorrow. Time to finish what we started. She's coming home, I tell Sella. After 5 years. Good. You'll need allies. Sella takes the folder back. But Hazel, understand what you're starting. This won't just be about Mac. The media will dig. Family secrets will surface. Good. I stand, straightening my dress. Let them dig. I'm done being the quiet little wife. My phone rings. Graham's calling. Mrs. West! His voice is tense. We have a situation. Kennedy's been accessing restricted financial files. And Mac, he's scheduled a press conference for tomorrow. Let me guess, he's announcing new leadership changes? Yes, he's planning to restructure the company before the divorce, claims it's to protect assets. I laugh softly. Oh, Graham, what would I do without you? Send me everything you have on those loans. And Graham? Make sure the board knows about tomorrow's press conference. Every single member. Sailor watches as I end the call. The board will side with you. They've known all along who really owns the company. Except Mac, I smile. He still thinks Gareth is just an old family friend who happened to become chairman. Speaking of Gareth, Sailor checks her watch. He's waiting for my call. We'll need to coordinate the transfer of power carefully. I walk to the window, watching storm clouds gather over the estate. Did you know Dad made me memorize Sun Tzu as a child? Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. Hazel, Sella's voice turns serious. Once you do this, there's no going back. Are you ready for what comes after? My phone buzzes again. A text from Yara. Dad's home. He's drunk and packing boxes. Says everything will change after tomorrow's announcement. I show Sella the message. You know what the funny thing is? He's right. Everything will change tomorrow. Just not the way he thinks. Then it's time. Sailor picks up her phone. I'll call Gareth. You call Vienna. The board meets in 1 week, but tomorrow's press conference will be Mac's last public appearance as CEO. I head for the door, pausing at my father's portrait one last time. You know what Mac said to me last week? That I was financially illiterate. Called me a trophy wife who couldn't understand basic business. Sella joins me, placing a hand on my shoulder. Men like Mac never see the knife until it's too late. That's their weakness. And their downfall, I add, walking out into the gathering storm. The lobby of West Consulting Group gleams with false promise, all glass and chrome and carefully curated success. Security doesn't stop me. They've seen me at enough company parties to assume I belong. The irony almost makes me smile. The elevator opens on the executive floor, and I step out directly into Kennedy's path. She freezes, coffee cups in both hands. You can't be here, she hisses, glancing toward Mac's office. The press conference starts in an hour. Actually, I can be anywhere I want in this building. I move past her, but she blocks my way. Listen. Her voice drops to a whisper. I know you're upset, but causing a scene won't help anyone. Causing a scene? I laugh. Oh, honey, you haven't seen a scene yet. Graham emerges from his office, his face lighting with relief when he sees me. Mrs. West, perfect timing. I have those documents you requested. Kennedy's eyes narrow. What documents? Just some divorce paperwork. I lie smoothly. Graham's been kind enough to help me understand the company's valuation. Mac won't like this, Kennedy warns. Mac doesn't have to like it. Graham's voice carries an edge I've never heard before. Mrs. West, shall we step into my office? Kennedy watches us go, her perfectly manicured hands clenching the coffee cups until her knuckles turn white. Inside Graham's office, he closes the door and draws the blinds. The loans, he says, pulling out a thick file. They're worse than we thought. Mac's been using company assets as collateral for personal ventures. Show me. He spreads the papers across his desk. 3 separate loans in the past year, totaling nearly $8 million, none approved by the board. And the money? Offshore accounts, real estate, a yacht. Graham runs a hand through his hair. He's been living like a man who thinks he's untouchable. A knock at the door makes us both jump. It's Gareth, the chairman, looking grave. Hazel. He nods. Vienna's downstairs. Security called up. Send her up, I say, just as my phone buzzes with a text from my sister. In the lobby. Brought receipts. Minutes later, Vienna sweeps in, designer boots clicking against the floor. She hasn't changed. Same fierce eyes, same take-no-prisoners attitude. She drops a manila envelope on Graham's desk. The original trust agreement, she announces, signed 10 years ago when Mac was drowning in debt. She looks at me. Remember that Christmas party, when he humiliated you in front of everyone? I remember. Mac had been drinking, making jokes about my allowance, calling me his decorative asset. You disappeared after that, I say quietly. No explanation, no goodbye. I was working. Vienna pulls documents from the envelope. Setting this up, making sure when the time came, you'd have options. Graham studies the papers, his eyes widening. This makes the trust fund the majority shareholder. Has been for years. And Mac never knew, Vienna smirks, too arrogant to check who really owned his success. A commotion outside draws our attention. Through the glass walls, we see Mac storming toward his office, Kennedy trailing behind him. The press is gathering downstairs. Gareth checks his watch. He'll announce the restructuring in 30 minutes. No, I stand. He won't. I walk out of Graham's office, Vienna beside me. Mac spots us and stops dead. What the hell is this? He demands. Vienna? What are you doing here? Supporting my sister, she says coolly. Someone had to. Get out, he points to the elevator. Both of you, I have a press conference. About the restructuring? I step closer. Or about the illegal loans? His face pales slightly. What are you talking about? $8 million, Mac. Did you think no one would notice? Kennedy edges away from him, her survival instincts kicking in. Graham and Gareth emerge from the office, flanking us. Whatever Graham told you, he's lying, Mac snarls. I own this company. I built it from nothing. No, Vienna pulls out the trust agreement. You built it with our money, our father's money, the money you've been mocking Hazel about for years. Security appears at the elevator, summoned by Gareth's silent signal. The press conference is cancelled, Gareth announces. Mr. West, these gentlemen will escort you out. We'll be in touch about the board meeting next week. You can't do this, Mac's voice rises. This is my company. Actually, I step forward, finally letting my smile show. It's mine. Has been for years. Check the paperwork. As security leads him away, I turn to Kennedy, who's trying to disappear into her desk. Don't bother packing, I tell her. HR will send your things. Your termination is effective immediately. She gathers her purse with trembling hands. Hazel, Save it, Vienna cuts in. Just go. When the elevator doors close behind them, Graham lets out a long breath. That was just the beginning, I finish. Call the board. Emergency meeting in 1 hour. It's time they met their real boss. The accounting department falls silent as I walk through, Vienna at my side. We're here following an anonymous tip about Kennedy's last-ditch efforts to cover Mac's tracks. The head accountant, Rita, meets us at her desk, a stack of files ready. Found these this morning. Rita hands me a folder. Kennedy's been asking people to alter transaction records. Most of us refused, but... She glances around the office. Some were more easily persuaded. I scan the emails. Kennedy's desperation bleeds through every word. Please help me fix these numbers. Mac promised to take care of everyone who helps. Your loyalty will be remembered. Forward these to HR, I tell Rita, and the legal team. My phone buzzes. A text from Yara. Dad's at the house. He's drunk again. Should I call someone? I need to go. I show Vienna the message. Can you handle things here? Go, she squeezes my arm. I'll keep digging. The drive home takes forever. I find Mac in his home office, surrounded by empty whiskey glasses, frantically typing on his laptop. Where's Yara? I demand. At Sarah's. He doesn't look up. Sent her to her friend's house. This isn't something she needs to see. What are you doing? Damage control. He spits the words. Though I'm sure that's not what you want to hear. How long have you been planning this, Hazel? How long have you been waiting to destroy everything I built? Everything you built? I laugh. You built nothing. You took our money, our connections, our support, and claimed it all as your own. The only thing you built was a lie. He finally looks at me, eyes bloodshot. I made that company what it is. No, you nearly destroyed it. 3 times. The trust, my family's trust, saved it each time. But you were too proud to see it, too arrogant to check who really owned the shares. The loans, he says quietly. You know about those too? $8 million, Mac. What were you thinking? He stands unsteadily. I was thinking about our future, the yacht, the villa in Monaco. It was all for us. Us? I step closer. Or you and Kennedy? His face twists. At least she appreciated what I could give her. She understood ambition. Understood it so well she's already turned on you? Check your email. She's been trying to save herself all morning. He grabs his phone, scrolling through messages. I watch the color drain from his face as he reads. She sent everything to HR? Smart girl. I perch on the edge of his desk. Realized which way the wind was blowing, unlike you. A new email pops up on his laptop, from the board. The subject line reads, Ownership Transition Discussion, Mandatory Meeting. You can't take my company, he whispers. It was never your company, I stand. Pack what you need and go. My lawyers will contact you about the divorce. And Yara will stay with me. She's old enough to choose, and she's seen enough of who you really are. He slumps in his chair, defeated. I did love you once, you know. No, I head for the door. You loved what I represented. Access to money, to power. You just never realized how much. My phone rings. It's Vienna. You need to see this, she says without preamble. Kennedy sent an email to the entire board, trying to expose Mac's dealings before we could. But she implicated herself in everything. Forward it to legal, I tell her. Add it to her termination file. Already done. But Hazel... She mentioned other things. Projects Mac started without board approval. Contracts he signed personally. This goes deeper than the loans. I think of the yacht, the villa, the offshore accounts. Keep pulling threads. I want everything exposed before the board meeting. A text from Yara interrupts. Can I come home? Sarah's mom keeps asking questions. I have to go. I tell Vienna. Family matters. Speaking of family, she pauses. Aunt Sailor called. She's worried about the media attention this will bring. Says we need to prepare for scrutiny. Let them scrutinize. I watch Mac through the office doorway, still staring at his laptop. I'm done hiding. I send a car for Yara and head to the kitchen to make her favorite tea. Through the window, I see Mac stumbling to his car with a box of belongings. He looks small now, diminished. My phone lights up with an email notification. The board meeting has been moved up. Tomorrow morning. Subject line: Immediate leadership transition required. I forward it to Graham with one question. Ready? His reply comes instantly. Everything's prepared. Time to end this. I smile, watching Mac's car disappear down the driveway. By this time tomorrow, the empire he thought he built will have a new queen, and this time, everyone will know exactly who holds the power. Kennedy corners me in the women's restroom, her mascara smeared from crying. Please, Hazel, I can help you. I know everything he did. Everything? I reapply my lipstick, watching her in the mirror. Like the offshore accounts? The falsified board reports? Or just the parts that don't implicate you? I was following orders. She grabs my arm. He said he'd ruin me if I didn't help. I have proof. Recordings, emails, everything. I carefully remove her hand. Interesting how quickly you turn on him. Tell me, was that always the plan? Sleep your way to the top, then switch sides when things got difficult? You don't understand. She pulls out her phone. Look at these messages. He promised me equity in the company, said once you were gone, we'd restructure everything. I scan the texts, forwarding several to Graham. And you believed him? A man who betrays his wife will betray anyone. I was stupid. She wipes her eyes. But I can make it right. Let me testify at the board meeting. I'll tell them everything. The bathroom door opens. It's Vienna. She takes in the scene with raised eyebrows. Everything okay here? Kennedy was just leaving, I say. HR needs her final signature on some paperwork. Wait, Kennedy blocks the door. What about my severance, my recommendations? I have a career to think about. Vienna laughs. A career? Honey, after this you'll be lucky to get a job as a barista. My phone buzzes. Graham again. Turn on CNBC, his text reads. Mac's doing an interview. We rush to the executive lounge. The TV shows Mac, somehow looking both polished and desperate, speaking to a financial reporter. These accusations are baseless, he's saying. My wife is attempting a hostile takeover using her family's influence. But I built this company. Ask anyone in the industry. The reporter leans forward. Sources say the Hunt family trust has actually owned controlling interest for years. Care to comment? Mac's smile falters. That's a misunderstanding. We've had investors, certainly, but I maintain full operational control. Not anymore, Vienna mutters. Kennedy watches the screen, her face pale. He's going to drag everyone down with him, isn't he? Not everyone, I turn to her. Just the guilty ones. My phone rings. Gareth. Hazel, the board's demanding an emergency session. Today, now. On my way. I hang up and face Kennedy. Last chance. Tell HR everything, and maybe, we don't press charges. She practically runs to the HR office. Vienna and I take the elevator to the boardroom floor. Through the glass walls, I can see the members already gathering, faces grim. Ready? Vienna squeezes my hand. I've been ready for 15 years. Graham meets us at the door. Kennedy's singing like a bird. She's handed over everything. Private accounts, backdated documents, even recordings of Mac planning the restructure. And the loans? All traced to personal purchases. The yacht, the villa, even an engagement ring for Kennedy. I shake my head. He really thought he'd get away with it all. The boardroom falls silent as we enter. Gareth stands at the head of the table. Given recent developments, he announces, we're convening this emergency session to address leadership concerns. Mrs. West, would you like to begin? I take my place at the table, Vienna and Graham flanking me. The documents we've gathered lay before each board member. Loan records, ownership papers, Kennedy's testimony. For 15 years, I start, my husband built this company using my family's money, connections, and trust. He took our investment and claimed it as his own achievement. He mocked my allowance while living off my family's generosity. Phones start buzzing around the table. Breaking news alerts. Mac's interview, Graham whispers, showing me his screen. The stock's dropping. Let it. I continue addressing the board. Because, as of today, everything changes. The Hunt Family Trust is asserting its majority ownership. Mac's loans will be investigated, his unauthorized projects terminated. And Kennedy, someone asks, has provided evidence of widespread financial misconduct. She's been terminated, but her cooperation will be noted. The boardroom doors burst open. Mac storms in, security guards trailing helplessly behind him. You can't do this, he shouts. This is my company. Mr. West, Gareth stands. This meeting is closed to former employees. Former? Mac laughs wildly. I'm the CEO. Not anymore. I slide a document across the table. The board just voted, unanimously. He stares at the paper, then at the faces around the table. Faces that won't meet his eyes. Security, Gareth nods. Please escort Mr. West out. And clear his office. Just cleaning, as they say. As they lead him away, I hear him shouting, You'll regret this, Hazel. All of you. Vienna touches my shoulder. You okay? I straighten my jacket, facing the board. Now, shall we discuss the company's new direction? The boardroom feels different today. Sunlight streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating the mahogany table where I've watched Mac hold court so many times before. Now it's my turn. The quarterly reports. Graham slides folders to each board member. As you can see, once we adjusted for Mac's unauthorized expenditures, our actual position is stronger than reported. Vienna sits beside me, taking notes. She's barely left my side since this started, as if making up for lost years. The elevator dings. Through the glass walls, I watch Mac stride out, wearing his best suit. He thinks he's here to fight. He doesn't know it's already over. Mrs. West, Gareth nods to me. Shall we begin? Before I can answer, Mac bursts in. This meeting is illegal. I've filed an injunction. Ah, yes. I open my laptop. Your lawyer called. Unfortunately, he withdrew the injunction after reviewing the ownership documents. Would you like to see them? This is ridiculous, he scoffs. I built this company from nothing. Actually, Vienna stands, distributing more papers. You built it with our family's money. Every major investment, every acquisition, every miracle recovery, all funded by the Hunt Trust. Mac grabs a document, his face reddening. These signatures, these dates, this can't be real. 10 years ago, I say quietly, you came home drunk, ranting about losing everything. Remember? I called my aunt that night. Within a week, the trust started buying shares. You're lying. But his voice wavers. Graham clicks a button, and the boardroom screen lights up with financial records. The loans, Mac. $8 million. The yacht in Monaco. The villa. The ring for Kennedy. Kennedy? Mac laughs nervously. She'll back me up. She knows the truth. Kennedy's gone, Gareth says. She provided quite detailed testimony about your activities. As if on cue, the screen changes to email screenshots, Kennedy's desperate messages to HR, her detailed confessions, the evidence she'd secretly gathered against Mac. "You set me up," Mac whispers. "All these years, you were playing me?" "No," I stand, smoothing my dress. "I gave you everything. My trust, my family support, my silence. You're the one who played games." The boardroom door opens again. Security enters, followed by two men in suits. "Mr. West," one says, showing a badge, "we're with the SEC. We have some questions about certain financial transactions." Mac backs away. "This is a mistake. Hazel, tell them." "The only mistake," I pick up the ownership documents, "was letting you believe you were untouchable. The board has voted. You're removed as CEO, effective immediately." "You can't. You don't understand business like I do." "Understanding business," Vienna cuts in, "isn't the same as understanding power. Our father taught us that." Gareth stands. "The vote was unanimous. Mrs. West will assume the position of chairwoman. All company assets will be audited. Any personal property purchased with unauthorized funds will be recovered." "Personal—" Mac pales. "The yacht? The villa?" "All purchased with company money," Graham confirms. "Which means they belong to the company. Which means they belong to Hazel." Mac lunges for the documents, but security catches him. In the struggle, his phone falls, skittering across the floor. It lights up with a message from Kennedy. "I'm sorry. I had to tell them everything." "You're making a mistake," Mac shouts as they lead him toward the SEC agents. "This company needs me." "No," I gather my papers calmly. "It needed the Hunt family money. It needed our connections. You were just the front man who forgot his place." The boardroom watches in silence as Mac is escorted out, his protests echoing down the hallway. Through the glass, I see employees pretending not to stare, phones discreetly recording. "Well," Gareth clears his throat, "shall we continue with the quarterly review?" My phone buzzes. Yara. "Mum, you're trending on Twitter. Everyone's talking about Dad's meltdown." I text back. "Stay at Sarah's a bit longer. I'll explain everything tonight." "The press will want a statement," Vienna murmurs. "Let them wait." I face the board. "Right now, we have a company to run." Graham projects the quarterly figures onto the screen. As he walks through the numbers, I notice something strange. The board members are smiling. Not the forced smiles they wore for Mac, but genuine ones. They look relieved. "One last thing," I interrupt. "About Kennedy's replacement. Already handled." Vienna slides me a resume. "I took the liberty of headhunting someone who actually earned their position." I scan the credentials, then look at my sister. After all these years, she's still protecting me, still thinking ahead. "Motion to approve the new executive assistant?" Gareth asks. The board's hands rise unanimously. "Welcome to the new era," I tell them, watching the sun rise higher over the city. "Let's build something real this time." The media circus erupts faster than anyone expected. By nightfall, show West takedown is trending, with leaked footage of Mac's boardroom meltdown going viral. I watch the clips spread across social media while Yara makes us tea. "Mom," she sets down my cup. "Entertainment Tonight wants an interview. So does Forbes." "Let them wait." I close my laptop. "How are you holding up?" She sits beside me on the couch. "Dad called. Left a voicemail saying he's sorry, that he can explain everything." "Of course he did." I pull her close. "He's realizing what he's lost." The doorbell rings. It's Aunt Selah, looking grimmer than usual. "Have you seen the news?" She doesn't wait for an invitation, striding into the living room. Every network is running the story. "Housewife heiress dethrones tech tyrant." That's the headline on Business Insider. "Let them talk," I say, but she cuts me off. This isn't just about Mac anymore. They're digging into the family, Hazel. The trust, your father's dealings, everything we've kept quiet for generations. My phone buzzes. Vienna's calling. I put her on speaker. TMZ just ran a piece, she says without preamble. They found Kennedy. She's giving interviews, playing victim. Of course she is, Sela mutters. That's not all, Vienna continues. Mac's lawyer called. He's suing for marital assets, claiming he had no knowledge of the trust's involvement. I laugh. Let him try. The prenup was ironclad. He's desperate, Yara says quietly. His reputation is destroyed. Even his golf club cancelled his membership. The doorbell rings again. This time it's Graham clutching a stack of papers. Sorry to interrupt, he says. But you need to see these. The forensic audit found more. Shell companies, backdated contracts, even a secret apartment in the city. Kennedy's? I ask. No, he hands me the lease. Another woman, from 3 years ago. Yara takes the paper, her face hardening. So it wasn't just Kennedy. Your father, Sela starts, but I cut her off. Don't defend him. Not anymore. My phone lights up with a text from Gareth. Board wants to issue a press release. Need your approval on the language. Send it to legal first, I reply, and add something about the new foundation. Foundation? Sela raises an eyebrow. The Hazel Hunt Foundation for Women in Business. I show her the proposal. Using part of our quarterly profits to fund female entrepreneurs. Ironically, Kennedy's termination package will fund the first grant. Vienna laughs through the speaker. Poetic justice. I love it. A news alert pops up on everyone's phones simultaneously. Mac's doing another interview, this time claiming mental distress and temporary insanity. Turn it on! Yara grabs the remote. There he is, on national television, looking disheveled and desperate. I was under immense pressure, he's saying. The company, the responsibilities. My wife never understood the burden I carried. Your wife, the interviewer leans forward. Who actually owned the company all along? Mac's face twists. She manipulated everything, used her family's money to control me. I'm the victim here. I turn off the TV. Enough! He's self-destructing, Graham observes. The SEC investigation isn't helping either. Good, Yara stands suddenly. He deserves it. All those years of talking down to you, Mom. Making you feel small. He deserves everything coming to him. Sela watches her great niece with pride. You raised her well, Hazel. Better than we raised you. What do you mean? We taught you to be quiet, to hide your power. Sela nods toward Yara. She knows her worth from the start. My phone buzzes again. A message from Kennedy's lawyer. She's requesting a private meeting. Don't, Vienna warns through the speaker. It's a trap. Actually, I smile. Let's hear her out. Set it up for tomorrow, Graham. Let's see what she's offering. Speaking of tomorrow, Sela checks her watch. The Times wants to do a profile piece. The silent queen of tech. That's their angle. No interviews, I decide. Let them speculate. The company's performance will speak for itself. Yara brings more tea, then curls up beside me. What happens now, Mom? I look around the room, at Graham with his steadfast loyalty, Sela with her fierce protection, Vienna on speaker still fighting my battles, and my daughter, stronger than I ever was at her age. Now, I tell her, we build something better, something real. Without hiding? She asks. Without hiding, I promise, just as another news alert lights up our phones. West Tech stock soars under new leadership. Sela raises her teacup in a toast. To the end of silence, and the beginning of power, Vienna adds through the speaker. I hold Yara closer, watching the sun set over the city, that would never underestimate me again. The morning sun streams through my new office windows as I sign the final divorce papers. Graham collects them with a satisfied nod. "That's it," he says. "You're officially free." "Not quite." I hand him another document. "There's one more thing." He reads it, eyebrows rising. "The Kennedy Foundation for Women's Career Advancement? You're naming it after her?" "Poetic justice." I smile. Let her legacy be something better than what she chose to be. My phone buzzes. Vienna's at reception. Minutes later, she bursts in, waving a tablet. "Have you seen this?" She pulls up an article. Kennedy gave another interview. But this time, it's different. I scan the piece. Kennedy's confessing everything. The affairs, the fraud, her own complicity. But what catches my eye is the final paragraph. "I thought I was choosing power," she's quoted. "Instead, I became another woman he used and discarded. The real power was always Hazel's, and she wielded it with a grace I never understood." "Mum?" Yara appears in the doorway. "Dad's downstairs. He wants to talk." I look at Vienna, who shrugs. "Your call." "Send him up." Mac enters cautiously, looking smaller in his off-the-rack suit. The designer clothes are gone, along with the swagger. "The SEC finished their investigation," he says without preamble. "I'm facing charges." "I know." "Could you—" He swallows hard. "Could you speak to them? Tell them I cooperated?" "Did you?" I lean back in my chair. "Or did you only cooperate after Kennedy exposed everything?" "I was wrong," he whispers, "about everything. You weren't just my wife. You were the company's heartbeat all along." "Save it." Vienna steps forward. "You're only sorry you got caught." "No." He looks at Yara. "I'm sorry I taught our daughter that power means cruelty, that success means stepping on others. Actually," Yara crosses her arms, "Mom taught me the opposite. Real power isn't about what you can take. It's about what you choose to give." My phone lights up. Gareth calling. "The board approved your proposal," he says when I answer. "The foundation launches next week. Press is already calling it revolutionary." "Good." I hang up and face Mac. "I'll tell the SEC you're cooperating, but that's all." "Thank you." He turns to leave, then pauses. "The company, it's thriving under you, growing faster than I ever managed." "Because she builds people up," Graham says quietly. "Not just profits." After Mac leaves, Vienna pulls out another document. "Speaking of building people up, remember that startup we discussed? The one run by those female engineers? The AI healthcare platform? They accepted our offer, the foundation's first major investment." Yara peers at the proposal. "They're moving into our incubator space?" "All 30 of them," I confirm, "with full funding and mentorship." The intercom buzzes, my new assistant. "Ms. Hunt, Kennedy's here for your meeting." I press the button. "Send her in." Kennedy enters, her designer clothes replaced by something simpler, more authentic. She carries a thick folder. "The documents you requested." She sets them down. "Every illegal transaction, every secret deal. Things even the SEC hasn't found yet." "Why now?" Vienna asks. "Because," Kennedy straightens her spine, "someone needs to show other women that it's never too late to choose integrity over ambition." I open the folder, scanning its contents. "These will help the investigation." "I know." She turns to leave, then stops. "The foundation, using my name. Why?" "Because everyone deserves a chance to rewrite their story," I tell her. "Even you." After she leaves, Yara hugs me suddenly. "I'm proud of you, Mom." "For taking down Dad?" "For showing me what real strength looks like." Graham clears his throat. "The press is still requesting interviews." "No interviews," I decide. "Let them watch what we build instead." Vienna grins. "Speaking of building, Wait until they see next quarter's numbers. My phone buzzes one last time. Aunt Sella. The trust board met today, she says. They want you to take over as head trustee. Tell them yes, I say, watching the city spread out below my window. But on one condition, we start funding more women-led ventures. Already approved, she replies. Your father would be proud. I end the call and face my family. Vienna with her fierce loyalty, Yara with her clear-eyed wisdom, Graham with his steady support. Ready to change some lives? I ask them. Always. Vienna picks up the startup proposal. But this time, we do it loudly. I look at the foundation documents, at Kennedy's name representing something bigger than betrayal, at the future we're building from the ashes of Mac's ego. They thought silence meant weakness, I tell them. But silence was just the sound of us getting ready. Yara smiles. No more silence needed, Mom. It's time to roar.
The phone slipped from my fingers, hitting the kitchen counter with a dull thud. 3 years of marriage, and I'd never once checked Ben's messages. Until today. Until that notification lit up his screen while he was in the shower. Can't wait for tomorrow? Same place, same time? I'm Sarah. Up until 5 minutes ago, I thought I knew exactly who I was. Marketing executive, new mother, devoted wife. Funny how a single text can make you question everything. The shower was still running upstairs. I could hear Ben humming, probably that irritating jazz tune he'd been obsessed with lately. My hands trembled as I picked up his phone again, my thumb hovering over the message preview. Sarah? Ben's voice echoed from upstairs. Have you seen my blue tie? Check the laundry basket, I called back, my voice steadier than I felt. The message taunted me, its blue bubble a portal to a truth I wasn't sure I wanted to know. I pressed my finger against the home button. Locked. Of course it was locked. But the preview was still there, along with earlier message snippets from the same R. Late meeting tonight. Miss you already? That was incredible. My stomach churned. The baby monitor crackled with Jamie's soft breathing, reminding me of everything at stake. 3 months old, and already his world might be crumbling. Footsteps on the stairs. I placed the phone exactly where I'd found it, grabbed a coffee mug, and tried to look busy. Ben appeared in the doorway, hair still damp, that stupid blue tie hanging loose around his neck. Found it in the dryer, he said, flashing that smile that used to make my heart skip. Now it just made me want to throw up. You're home late tonight? I asked, careful to keep my tone casual. He paused, just for a fraction of a second. If I hadn't been watching for it, I might have missed it. Yeah, big presentation tomorrow. Probably won't wrap up until 8 or 9. Liar. I could bring you dinner at the office, I suggested, watching his face. Jamie's been sleeping better. We could make it a surprise. No. He said it too quickly, then softened his voice. I mean, don't trouble yourself. It'll be boring, just me and the blueprints. And R. Whoever R was. Right, I said, taking a sip of coffee I didn't want. Wouldn't want to disturb your concentration. Ben grabbed his phone, checking it briefly before sliding it into his pocket. If he noticed anything amiss, he didn't show it. He kissed my cheek, a quick, distracted peck, and headed for the door. Love you, he called over his shoulder. Love you too, I replied automatically, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. The front door clicked shut. I waited until I heard his car start, then pulled out my own phone. My hands were steady now as I scrolled through my contacts, stopping at Emily's name. My best friend since college, now a corporate lawyer, with a talent for digging up dirt. The baby monitor crackled again. Upstairs, Jamie would be waking soon, demanding his morning feed. My beautiful boy, who had his father's eyes and my stubborn chin, who deserved better than a father who could look his wife in the face and lie without flinching. I hit dial. Em, I need your help with something. I paused, gathering my thoughts. What do you know about hiring a private investigator? The words hung in the air, making everything real. There would be no going back from this moment. But then, Ben had already made that choice for both of us, hadn't he? IR might have tomorrow, but I had today, and I was going to use it to tear Ben's carefully constructed lies apart, piece by piece, until nothing remained but the truth. Emily's office always smelled like leather and ambition. I sat across from her desk, watching her scroll through the private investigator's website on her laptop while Jamie dozed in his carrier beside me. Marcus Chen, former FBI, 20 years experience, specializes in infidelity cases. She looked up at me. Are you absolutely sure about this, Sarah? I twisted my wedding ring, the diamond catching the afternoon light. You should have seen Ben's face this morning when I suggested bringing dinner to his office, like I'd threatened to set his blueprints on fire. That doesn't necessarily mean 3 years, Em. 3 years, and he's never once changed his phone password. Now suddenly it's locked. My voice cracked. And those messages... Emily closed her laptop with a sharp click. Have you talked to Nancy and Tom about any of this? God, no. The thought of telling Ben's parents made my stomach turn. Nancy's been so wonderful since Jamie was born. She brings casseroles twice a week, helps with the laundry. And Tom... I swallowed hard. He'd probably arrest Ben on principle. Or shoot him, Emily muttered. She'd never quite warmed to my father-in-law's rigid moral code. Speaking of the devil, my phone buzzed. Nancy's name lit up the screen. Sarah, dear, Tom and I were thinking of stopping by for dinner tonight. I've made that lasagna you love. My throat tightened. Tonight? Ben's working late. Again? There was something in Nancy's tone. Concern? Suspicion? That's the 3rd time this week. Big project, I said automatically, the lie bitter on my tongue. But please come. Jamie would love to see his grandparents. After hanging up, I caught Emily's knowing look. What? Nancy's not stupid, Sarah. She raised Ben. If she's noticing something's off, then I need to be more careful. I stood up, gathering Jamie's diaper bag. Can you set up a meeting with this Marcus person? Emily nodded slowly. Just promise me you'll think about what you want to do with whatever he finds. Revenge might feel good in the moment, but this isn't about revenge. But even as I said it, I could feel something dark and hungry unfurling in my chest. It's about truth, about justice. Same thing sometimes, Emily said softly. That evening, Nancy's lasagna sat heavy in my stomach as I watched her and Tom with Jamie. They were such naturals, Nancy singing silly songs, while Tom made faces that had Jamie giggling. A perfect family picture, except for the son who couldn't be bothered to come home to it. My phone buzzed. Ben. Meeting's running even later than expected. Don't wait up. Nancy caught my expression. Everything all right, dear? Fine, I said too quickly. Just Ben working late again. Tom's jaw tightened. That firm works him too hard. When I was on the force, at least I made it home for dinner most nights. Most nights, Nancy echoed, with a pointed look that suggested an old argument. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Emily, with Marcus Chen's contact information and 3 words that made my heart race. He's free tomorrow. Sarah? Nancy's hand touched my arm, making me jump. You seem distant lately. Is everything okay? With you and Ben? I looked into her concerned eyes, so like her son's, and felt the weight of secrets pressing down on me. How many family dinners like this had I sat through, playing the perfect daughter-in-law? How many more could I endure? Everything's fine, I lied, forcing a smile. Just tired. New mom stuff, you know? Nancy nodded, but her eyes stayed worried. As she and Tom gathered their things to leave, she hugged me tighter than usual. You know you can tell us anything, right? We're family. Family. The word echoed in my head as I watched them drive away. Behind me, Jamie started to fuss in his crib. Somewhere across town, Ben was with her. With R. Probably telling her the same lies he told me. I pulled out my phone and typed a response to Emily. Set up the meeting. Tomorrow. Marcus Chen's manila envelope sat unopened on my kitchen counter for 3 hours. Jamie was finally napping, The house quiet except for the hum of the dishwasher, and still I couldn't bring myself to look inside. The investigator's words echoed in my head. "You might want to be sitting down for this one, Mrs. Mitchell." My phone buzzed. Ben. "Running late again, don't wait up." That decided it. I ripped open the envelope, and photographs spilled across the granite countertop like accusations. Ben and a woman, tall, slim, red hair, entering a boutique hotel. Ben kissing her in a restaurant's dim corner. Ben helping her into his car. My car, the one I'd helped him pick out for his promotion last year. The timestamp on the last photo was yesterday. While I was feeding Jamie strained peas, while I was folding tiny onesies, while I was lying awake waiting for him to come home. My hands didn't shake as I picked up Chen's detailed report. Rachel Carter, 32, project manager at Ben's firm. Started there 6 months ago. The timeline made my stomach turn. Right when I was on bed rest, fighting to keep Jamie safe. The doorbell rang, startling me. Through the window, I saw Nancy's car in the driveway. Shit, I'd forgotten she was coming to help with Jamie. I swept the photos into the envelope, but missed one. It slid under the refrigerator as I rushed to answer the door. "Sarah, dear!" Nancy bustled in with a casserole dish. "I brought that chicken thing you like. Are you all right? You look pale." "Fine," I said automatically. "Just tired. Jamie's been fussy." She set down the dish, mother's intuition clearly kicking in. "Sarah!" The baby monitor crackled with Jamie's first warning whimpers. Thank God for small mercies. "I should get him," I said, turning toward the stairs. "I'll warm up lunch while you do," Nancy offered, heading for the kitchen. My heart stopped. The envelope was still on the counter. "Actually," I started, but Nancy was already there. I watched her freeze, staring at the manila envelope with Marcus Chen's name and confidential investigation stamped across it. "Sarah?" Her voice was different now. Careful. "What's this?" Jamie's cries grew louder upstairs. I stood frozen between two disasters, unsure which would hurt more. Nancy moved toward the refrigerator, probably to get butter for the casserole. Her foot caught something. The missing photograph, sliding out into plain view. The silence that followed was deafening. "Oh, Ben," she whispered, picking up the photo. "What have you done?" Jamie's wails reached full volume. I started toward the stairs, but Nancy's hand caught my arm. "Go get him," she said quietly. "Then we're going to talk." When I came back down, Jamie hiccuping against my shoulder, Nancy had the envelope's contents spread across the counter. Her hands trembled as she shuffled through the evidence of her son's betrayal. "Rachel Carter," she said, reading from Chen's report. "I met her at the firm's Christmas party. She seemed—" Nancy's voice broke. "I thought she seemed nice." "Nancy, Does Tom know?" I shook my head. "Good." She straightened her spine, teacher mode activating. "He'd kill him. Actually kill him." She looked at Jamie, then back at me. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know." But even as I said it, I realized it wasn't true. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I just didn't want to admit it to Ben's mother. Nancy must have seen something in my face, because she nodded slowly. "Whatever it is, I'll support you. Tom will too." She gathered the photos, sliding them back into the envelope. "But Sarah, make it count." My phone buzzed again. Ben. "Dinner with clients. Don't expect me before midnight." Nancy read the message over my shoulder and made a sound I'd never heard from her before. Part laugh, part sob. "Make it count," she repeated, harder this time. "Make him regret every single lie." I looked at my mother-in-law, this woman who'd welcomed me into her family, who was now giving me permission to destroy her son's carefully constructed world. "I will," I promised. And for the first time since finding that text, I smiled. Ben came home drunk that night, stumbling through our bedroom door at 2 a.m. I lay still, watching through half-closed eyes as he fumbled with his tie, reeking of whiskey and someone else's perfume. "Sarah?" He squinted at my seemingly sleeping form. "You awake?" I kept my breathing steady, even as my heart hammered against my ribs. On the nightstand, my phone silently recorded every sound, every movement. Emily's idea. Document everything, she'd said, just in case. He collapsed onto the bed, still fully dressed. Within minutes, his phone buzzed. Even in his drunken state, he checked it immediately. The blue light illuminated his smile. That secret smile I used to think belonged to me. I waited until his breathing deepened into snores before sliding out of bed. His phone lay loose in his palm, screen dark but unlocked. "Thank you, Whiskey." My hands didn't shake as I scrolled through his messages. Rachel's thread was deleted, of course, but he'd forgotten about his email. There it was, buried in his work account. Dinner reservations, hotel confirmations, plane tickets to Chicago next month. A romantic getaway disguised as a business trip. I forwarded everything to myself, then hesitated over a folder marked Properties. Inside were documents for a lease agreement, a downtown apartment signed 3 weeks ago. He was planning to leave. The revelation hit me like a physical blow. While I'd been plotting my revenge, he'd been plotting his escape. The apartment wasn't just for secret meetings. It was an exit strategy. Jamie's cry pierced the silence. Ben didn't stir, but I moved quickly, replacing the phone before heading to the nursery. "Shh, baby," I whispered, lifting him from his crib. "Mama's got you." In the pale nightlight, Jamie's features blurred between mine and Ben's. Would he grow up to have his father's smile? His talent for architecture? His capacity for betrayal? My phone buzzed. "Nancy." "I couldn't sleep," she texted. "Tom's asking questions. He knows something's wrong." I typed back one-handed, Jamie snuffling against my shoulder. "Ben signed a lease. He's planning to leave." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, "Come over for breakfast tomorrow. Tom needs to know." Fear and anticipation twisted in my gut. Tom Mitchell didn't handle betrayal well. It's why he'd been such a good cop. Once he knew the truth about his son. Another text from Nancy. "Bring everything you have. All of it." I looked down at Jamie, now sleeping peacefully, unaware that his world was about to implode. In the other room, Ben snored on, equally oblivious to the approaching storm. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was Emily. "Got the Chicago tickets. Want to know something interesting? Rachel booked a separate return flight, 3 days after Ben." The pieces clicked together. The apartment. The separate flights. The way Rachel had been seen leaving expensive boutiques, shopping for furniture instead of clothes. She wasn't just his mistress. She was going to be his new life. I settled Jamie back in his crib, my mind racing. Ben thought he had it all planned out. The perfect escape, the clean break. He probably thought he was being kind, sparing me the messy confrontation. Well, too bad. I returned to our bedroom, watching him sleep. This stranger who wore my husband's face. In the morning, he wouldn't remember unlocking his phone. Wouldn't remember giving me the final piece of evidence I needed. "I'm going to destroy you," I whispered to his unconscious form. "Not just for me, for Jamie, for your parents, for everyone you thought you could abandon without consequences." Ben stirred slightly, mumbling Rachel's name in his sleep. I smiled in the darkness, thinking of tomorrow's breakfast with his parents, of Tom's righteous anger and Nancy's quiet fury, of the carefully gathered evidence that would tear down Ben's perfect plan piece by piece. He thought he was writing the ending to our story. He had no idea I was about to rewrite it completely. Tom Mitchell's hands gripped his coffee mug so tightly I thought it might shatter. The evidence lay spread across his kitchen table. Photos, emails, lease documents. A paper trail of his son's betrayal. "That apartment," Nancy said, her voice tight. "It's in the same building where Tom's old partner lives." "Dennis wouldn't have missed Ben coming and going," Tom growled. "He sees everything in that place." I bounced Jamie gently, watching Tom's face darken as he studied the Chicago flight confirmations. 3 days, he muttered. "She stays 3 extra days after Ben leaves." "Business meetings," I quoted from the email chain. That's what Ben told his firm. The doorbell rang, making us all jump. Nancy peered through the curtains and went pale. "It's Ben!" My heart stopped. He never came here on Sunday mornings. Always claimed he needed to catch up on work. Sarah? Ben's voice carried through the door. Your car's here. Is everything okay? Tom started to rise, but Nancy gripped his arm. Not yet, she whispered. I handed Jamie to Nancy and moved to the door, opening it just enough to block his view of the kitchen. What are you doing here? I asked, proud of how steady my voice sounded. You weren't answering your phone. I was worried. He tried to peer past me. Is Jamie okay? He's fine. Your mother's watching him while I faltered, realizing I hadn't prepared a lie. While you what? His tone sharpened slightly. And why aren't you answering your phone? It's dead, I said quickly. I forgot my charger. Behind me, Jamie let out a happy squeal at the sound of his father's voice. Ben's face softened. Can I come in? Say hi to Mom? Before I could answer, Tom appeared behind me. Actually, son, we need to talk. Ben's expression flickered. Surprise, then something else. Fear? Dad, I've got a meeting. No, you don't. Tom's voice was deadly quiet. Rachel's out of town this weekend. Dennis saw her leave yesterday. The color drained from Ben's face. I don't. Tom stepped forward, and Ben actually backed up. Don't you dare lie to me. Not in my house, not to my face. Nancy appeared, still holding Jamie. Benjamin Mitchell, get in here right now. I'd never heard that tone from her before. Neither had Ben, apparently, because he obeyed automatically. The kitchen fell silent as Ben took in the evidence spread across the table. His hands trembled slightly as he picked up a photo of himself and Rachel. How long have you known? He asked me. Long enough. I watched him examine the lease agreement. Planning to tell me about the apartment? Or were you just going to disappear one day? It's not. He swallowed hard. It's complicated. Explain it then, Tom demanded. Explain how you could do this to your wife, your son. You don't understand, Ben snapped. None of you understand what it's like, feeling trapped, suffocating under everyone's expectations. Jamie started crying, the tension in the room finally getting to him. Ben reached for him instinctively, but Nancy turned away, shielding her grandson. Something broke in Ben's face then. Not guilt or shame, but anger. So that's it? You're all against me now? Taking her side? There aren't sides, Nancy said quietly. There's right and wrong, and this? She gestured at the evidence. This is wrong, Benjamin. The Chicago trip's canceled, I told him. I called your firm this morning. Told them you had a family emergency. You what? He stepped toward me, face flushing. You had no right. Tom moved between us so fast I barely saw him. Think very carefully about your next move, son. Ben looked from face to face, his father's fury, his mother's disappointment, my cold determination. Finally, his shoulders slumped. I need to go, he muttered, turning toward the door. Ben. My voice stopped him. When you get home tonight, we're going to talk. About everything, including custody arrangements. He flinched but didn't turn around. The front door slammed behind him. Nancy hugged Jamie closer, tears streaming down her face. Tom's hand found mine, squeezing gently. You did good, he said softly. Now comes the hard part. I nodded, watching through the window as Ben's car disappeared down the street. The hard part wasn't confronting him. It was deciding what kind of justice I wanted, what kind of revenge would hurt him most. And looking at Jamie's innocent face, I knew exactly what to do. Ben didn't come home that night. Or the next. By Wednesday, his side of the closet was empty, and his toothbrush had disappeared from our bathroom. No note, no explanation, just absence where my husband used to be. I sat at our kitchen table, Jamie asleep upstairs, staring at the divorce papers Emily had drafted. The house felt wrong, like a stage set where all the furniture had been shifted 2 inches to the left. My phone buzzed. A text from Nancy. He's at the apartment. Dennis saw him moving boxes in with her. Before I could respond, another message appeared. Unknown number. You really thought he'd choose you and the baby over me? How adorably naive. Rachel. My hands shook as I saved the number. This wasn't part of the plan. She wasn't supposed to know I knew, not yet. The doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw Ben, looking exhausted and unshaven. When I opened the door, the smell of Rachel's perfume clung to his clothes. "I need my passport," he said, not meeting my eyes. "It's in the safe." "Planning another trip?" My voice sounded strange, even to me. "Chicago's lovely this time of year." He flinched. "Sarah, your father called the firm." I cut him off. "Did you know that? 30 years on the force gives him some interesting connections. They're investigating the project funds you've been using for your little love nest." That got his attention. "He had no right." "Like you had no right to empty our savings account?" His face went blank. He thought I hadn't noticed yet. Thought I wouldn't check until it was too late. "That money was mostly mine," he said carefully. "From the Anderson project. From the project you landed while I was on bed rest? While I was fighting to keep our son alive?" The rage I'd been containing for weeks burst free. "The project Rachel helped you get?" "It wasn't like that." He stepped toward me, hands raised placatingly. "You don't understand." "I understand perfectly." I backed away from his reach. "I understand that while I was choosing between paying for Jamie's medical bills and buying groceries, you were furnishing an apartment with my money." "Our money," he corrected, anger finally seeping through his careful mask. "And maybe if you hadn't been so focused on the baby." "Don't!" My voice could have frozen hell. "Don't you dare make this about Jamie." "Everything's about Jamie," he exploded. "Every conversation, every decision, every dollar. It's all about the baby. When was the last time you even looked at me? When was the last time you were home to be looked at?" The silence stretched between us like a chasm. Upstairs, Jamie started crying. "I'll get the passport," I said quietly. "Wait here." I climbed the stairs slowly, each step feeling like lead. In the nursery, Jamie's cries turned to hiccuping sobs as I lifted him from his crib. "Shh, baby," I whispered, breathing in his sweet, powder-fresh scent. "It's okay. We're okay." My phone buzzed again. "Rachel. He's moving in permanently this weekend. Don't worry, I'll take good care of him." Something inside me snapped. I carried Jamie downstairs, where Ben was pacing impatiently. "Here," I said, holding out our son. "Hold him." Ben stepped back. "Sarah, I don't have time." "Hold your son." Reluctantly, he took Jamie, who immediately started wailing louder. "This is what you're walking away from," I said, watching him struggle to comfort the baby he barely knew anymore. "Not me, not our marriage, him." "Ha, I'm not walking away," Ben protested weakly. "I'll pay support, I'll visit, like your father visited his other family." He went white. "How did you—" "Tom told me everything. About the sister you never knew, about how he chose to stay, to make it right." I took Jamie back, his cries instantly quieting. "But you're not him, are you? You're not that strong." "Sarah, please." "The passport's in my lawyer's office," I said, turning away. "Along with the evidence of your creative accounting. Your choice, Ben. Make it count." The door closed behind him, with a final sounding click. I held Jamie closer, feeling his tiny heart beat against mine, and waited for Ben's next move. But I already knew what it would be. Men like him always choose the easier path. I just hadn't expected it to hurt this much. Emily's text hit like a thunderbolt. "Rachel's at the firm. She's telling everyone she's pregnant." I was already halfway to my car when Nancy called. "Sarah, don't—" "Watch Jamie," I cut her off. "I'll be back soon." The elevator ride to Ben's office felt endless. Each ping of passing floors echoed the pounding in my chest. When the doors opened, I heard Rachel's voice carrying across the open workspace. "Of course we didn't plan it," she was saying to a cluster of wide-eyed colleagues. "But Ben and I are so excited." She saw me before I saw her. The triumphant smile froze on her face. "Sarah." Ben stepped between us, his voice low and urgent. "This isn't the place." 3 months, I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "That's how long you've been sleeping together, right? While I was on bed rest?" Rachel's hand drifted to her stomach, a practiced, theatrical gesture. "Ben, maybe we should—" Interesting timing, I continued, pulling out my phone. Especially since you filled that birth control prescription 2 weeks ago. The office went dead silent. Rachel's face drained of color. What prescription? Ben turned to her, confusion breaking through his carefully maintained facade. The one she picked up at Wilson's pharmacy, I said, showing him the receipt on my phone. Tom's old partner works security there now. Funny how small this city is, isn't it? Rachel! Ben's voice cracked slightly. What is she talking about? Rachel's mask slipped, just for a moment. Fear flickered in her eyes before she rallied. It's not what you think. It's exactly what he thinks, I cut in. You're not pregnant. You never were. You just needed something to seal the deal, right? To make sure he wouldn't change his mind about leaving? Ben, she's lying. Rachel reached for him, but he stepped back. Baby, please. Don't call him that. My voice could have cut glass. You don't get to call him that. Like you have any right to him? Rachel snapped, composure finally shattering. You trapped him with that baby, made him feel guilty about everything he wanted. Wanted? I laughed, the sound harsh and foreign. You mean like the apartment he can't afford anymore? The firm's investigating the project funds, Rachel. How long before they find your fingerprints on those creative expense reports? Her face went from white to gray. Behind us, someone gasped. Ben looked like he might be sick. You wouldn't, Rachel whispered. I already did. I turned to Ben. Your father's friend at the SEC is very interested in those numbers. Apparently, misappropriating client funds is frowned upon. You're bluffing, Rachel said, but her voice shook. I pulled out another paper, a copy of the SEC preliminary investigation notice. Am I? Ben grabbed it, scanning quickly. Rachel, what did you do? What I had to. She was crying now, mascara running. You said you needed help getting away from her, that you felt trapped. I never said to steal. You didn't have to. I did it for us, for our future. There is no us. Ben's shout echoed across the suddenly empty office. There's no baby, no future, just lies. My God, what have I done? I watched him crumble. This man I'd loved. This stranger I'd married. Part of me wanted to comfort him, to say it would be okay. But I thought of Jamie, alone with his grandmother, while his father threw away everything for a woman who'd played him just as thoroughly as he'd played me. The divorce papers are still on the kitchen table, I said quietly. Sign them tonight, and I won't press charges for the money you took from our account. Sarah, please! He reached for me, but I stepped back. Tonight, Ben, or tomorrow I call the SEC myself. I turned and walked away, Rachel's sobs and Ben's broken silence, following me to the elevator. As the doors closed, I caught one last glimpse of them, two liars with nowhere left to hide. My phone buzzed. Nancy. Jamie's asking for Mama. I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in months. It was time to go home to my son. The signed divorce papers sat on Emily's desk like a fallen leaf, crisp, final, dead. She shuffled through them one last time, checking Ben's signatures. The SEC investigation is moving forward, she said, closing the folder. Rachel's already accepted a plea deal. She's testifying against the firm's leadership. And Ben? Suspended pending investigation. He'll probably avoid charges, but his career... She shrugged. Let's just say he won't be designing skyscrapers anytime soon. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I felt hollow, like someone had scooped out all my anger and left nothing in its place. My phone buzzed. Nancy, sending another photo of Jamie with his new tooth. She and Tom had become fixtures in our lives, as if trying to make up for their son's absence with doubled love. There's something else, Emily said, pulling out another document. Ben's requesting supervised visitation. The hollow feeling vanished, replaced by ice. No. Sarah, he abandoned us, stole from us. And he'll pay for that. Emily's voice was gentle. But he's still Jamie's father. The sunlight through her office window caught the edge of my wedding ring. Still there. Though I couldn't say why. Force of habit, maybe. Or a reminder of how easily truth could be twisted into lies. I need to show you something first, I said, pulling up the video on my phone. The security footage from Dennis's building played silently. Ben and Rachel arguing in the lobby, her throwing something at him. Keys, maybe, before storming out. The timestamp was 3 days after our confrontation. Where did you get this? Tom sent it. Said I should know what kind of man wants to be part of my son's life. Emily watched the rest. Ben slumping against the wall, head in his hands, then suddenly straightening as another woman entered. The same red hair as Rachel, but 20 years older. Her mother, I'd learned later. The conversation was silent but clear. Accusations, denials, finally a confession. Rachel had done this before, it turned out. 3 other men, 3 other false pregnancies. Her mother had come to warn Ben, too late to save his marriage, but just in time to save what remained of his career. Does he know you have this? Emily asked. I shook my head. I could use it against him in the custody hearing, prove he has bad judgment, prove he's unfit. But then I'd be just like them, using truth as a weapon, twisting it to hurt people. Emily smiled slightly. So what do you want to do? The answer came easier than I expected. I want to move forward, set conditions for the visitation, therapy, parenting classes, supervised visits until he proves himself. But I want Jamie to have the chance to know his father, the real one, not the liar or the victim. And Rachel? She'll face her own consequences. That's not my story anymore. Emily nodded, already drafting new papers. Outside her office, the city hummed with life. People hurrying to meetings, falling in love, telling lies, seeking redemption. Somewhere out there, Ben was probably sitting in his empty apartment, wondering how it all went so wrong. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Tom. Dinner tonight? Nancy's making that lasagna you love. I smiled, thinking of family dinners with new boundaries, new understanding. Thinking of Jamie growing up, surrounded by imperfect people, trying their best to be better. Sarah? Emily held out a pen. Ready to finish this? I slipped off my wedding ring, placing it carefully in my purse. Not as a keepsake, but as a reminder of how love could blind us, how truth could save us, and how sometimes the best revenge was simply living well. Yes, I said, taking the pen. I'm ready. The papers felt lighter than I expected. Each signature was a step forward, away from betrayal and towards something new. Not an ending exactly. More like a door opening to possibilities I hadn't known existed when I first found that text on Ben's phone. Jamie was waiting, and for the first time in months, so was I.